It is the final time the Indiana Sentinels will make their way out to McMorran Place in this regular season. It was a beautiful 60-plus degree day outside, but inside we're celebrating St. Paddy's Day. It's the Sentinels and the Port Huron Prowlers. Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Indiana Sentinels Body Armor pregame show. My name's Andy Petzinger, happy to bring you along on the broadcast. Well, last night you tuned in for a pretty good hockey game for the first couple of periods, or first period, I should say, where the Indiana Sentinels really held the pace of play. We started everything out with a whole lot of fireworks. We had 3 fights happen before we could really get any sustained play going at all. And in the first period, after those fights, the Sentinels had a whole lot of momentum on their side and outplayed the Port Huron Prowlers to a T. In the second period and beyond, the Sentinels took their foot off the gas pedal, and the Prowlers, they only got better as the game went on. So let's take a quick look at the highlights of what happened last night. Drop of the puck, and Colarusso goes right after Johnson. Here we go. Couple uppercuts from Colarusso, getting him in the back of the head, trying to drag him down, pull his helmet off. Johnson has his fist cocked as Colarusso on the ground, but the linesmen jump in real quick and say, I don't think so. That is that. And there they went. So Pavlov jumps on the ice, and now we've got Bradburn going now against Austin Federley. Bradburn's got family in the stands, wants to show off. Here we go. Bradburn in his 4th FPHL game gets him with the left and drops him right away. Oh, Noah Bradburn, where'd that come from? All right, here we go again. More guys going at it. Seth Bacon now jumping in. Welcome to the Indiana Sentinels. Bacon and Ben Brockway going toe-to-toe at center ice. Bacon with the right. Brockway with the right to answer. Bacon's got his bucket off. Bacon with an uppercut. There we go. Get him down to the ground. Seth Bacon. Welcome to the club. And then it gets squirted back out to the neutral zone, where Elise will leave it off for Zinchenko. Back to Jonas Elise going in on the line. Backdoor feed. Oh, yeah, Cunningham waiting backdoor, but Cunningham, if he's a left-handed shot, or right-handed shot, pardon me, he's able to put that in the back of the net. Panavanov's long wrister gets blocked, and it's cleared by the Prowlers. Down low. Comes up to Reggie Millette. His wrist shot tipped on that. Good save by Kerr. Comes out to the far side, Johnson. He'll send it in behind the net. Lackney there to hold. Lackney back to Johnson on the far wall. Johnson holding. Now up top for Federley. He plays catch with Johnson walking down low. Graham in front. They score! Goes back door and tapped in by Lucas Lackney. He'll get his 11th of the season. He does. Finds Bucell. To Lackney down low, back up top, Reggie Millette. Wrist shot blocked by Panavanov, is sailing about 10 feet wide anyway. Now Johnson to Bucell in front. Shooting, he scores! Bucell in the slot, able to find a soft little area and had some space to settle that puck down and fire it just over the glove of Chris Kerr. It is now Zinchenko taking it now. We'll move it across to Bormanis as Zinchenko takes a hit to make a play. Bormanis curling. We'll send it down low to Peavy in the corner. Peavy back up top, taken away by Millette, going for the empty net, and he scores! Reggie Millette, from about 140 feet away, able to bounce that one into an open goal. And Port Huron now leads it 3-0. And for for Reed Cooper, his second shutout of the season, his 21st victory, and his first shutout against the Indiana Sentinels as the Prowlers win this one by a final score of 3-0 as we get one more meeting here as the game comes to a close. And there you have it. A 3-0 victory for the Port Huron Prowlers last night. And like I said, the Sentinels coming out and playing very well in the first period of play, outshooting the Port Huron Prowlers 11-5 in that first period. After that, though, the Prowlers really stepped on the gas, and they made the most of their opportunities as well with the special teams play, converting on 2 out of 4 out of their power plays. The Sentinels 0 for 4 on the Richard Hawes Insurance power play last night. Another thing that crept back into play for the Sentinels that has spelled doom for them as of recently is the late goal that they've been giving up. That in the second period, a goal with under a minute remaining to make it a 2-goal deficit heading into period number 3, and another power play goal at that. So that's something that the Sentinels really need to nip in the bud here moving forward, is making sure that they are not giving anything up in the last 5 minutes or so of each period. So as we move on to today, I got a chance to talk with Seth Bacon, one of the newest additions to the Indiana Sentinels before today's game. Had a couple of words about what he thought about this rivalry and taught us a little bit more about his background. So let's listen to what happened with Seth. Andy Petzinger downstairs pregame with Seth Bacon of the Indiana Sentinels, fresh off his very first game in the jersey. How'd you feel last night, Seth?
Felt good. Felt good to be back out there. Ton of ice time, which is always a plus. So, yeah, it was good just to dive in head first and kind of just get the ball rolling.
What did you think of the opening 3 seconds of the hockey game? I know you ended up getting in the action yourself, but were you prepared for something like that to happen, or was it more of a surprise?
I've heard about the little rivalry they got going here. Everett obviously brought me in for a reason. I'm not going to back down from anyone, and I was going to actually wait till later in the game, see how it developed a little bit, but right off the draw is fine with me, and I'm always willing to oblige. So,
what was that conversation like with you and Everett that ended up getting you over here? What were some of the things that you guys talked about?
I've known Everett for a little while now. He was my coach in Baton Rouge. He just, when he got this job, we were talking a little bit here and there, and said he wants to develop something here, and he's trying to get some of the chess pieces on the board. So, I mean, getting Corey Cunningham, I played with him in Monroe, obviously, and I was a piece that he needed. Just bring a little bit of energy, a little bit of passion to the game, try to teach some of the younger guys. But, yeah, that's kind of what got me here.
Perfect. A little bit more about your background, because you have been around for a couple of years now, and I know it's not your first time with Everett, but just let our fans know a little bit more about where you've been in the FPHL and even beyond if you want.
Yeah, my junior career started in Austin, Minnesota in the North American League. I ended up taking a bunch of injuries there and going to the NA3 with Rochester. I committed to Bethel University following that season, and I went for a semester. The student-athlete thing was a little bit too much for me, so I decided to go to Delaware it was the FHL back then.
Yeah.
And COVID ended up hitting, and I just decided it was time to retire. So a couple years back, came out of retirement in Baton Rouge, and just been playing ever since.
And I know you've had a cup of coffee or two up at the next level as well. How has that kind of shaped the way that you play today?
Yeah, I mean, as guys are moving up, it's everyone's bigger, faster, stronger. It's a tougher game to play. Your time and space is taken away a lot more. So, I mean, coming here, this league is developing a ton, especially in the last couple of years, and we're getting towards that goal. But, yeah, I think it really helps me. I got a little bit more time out there. I kind of know helping the other guys as well adjust and, follow their dreams and move up. So, yeah, I think it's helped a lot.
You mentioned off the ice, Everett wants you to try to help mold some of this younger group that he's got here, which has a lot of serious potential in that locker room. But as far as on the ice, what's the biggest attribute that you feel like you're bringing to the team?
Just energy. And, like shooting the puck. I mean, I'm a very simple defenseman, so the simple's always sexy, as I like to say it. I pride myself on not getting scored on. Like, plus minus to me is the most important stat. I think my record proves that. Also being a captain in Monroe, that taught me a lot, how to develop some of these younger guys and mold them to be good people first, but also great hockey players. Yeah.
I love it. Well, we appreciate you taking a little time before the game tonight. We wish you the best of luck on the ice. We'll send it back up to the booth to finish out the Body Armor pregame show. All right, a big thanks to Seth Bacon for taking a little bit of time to speak with us today. A couple of really interesting notes from that conversation with him. The fact that he does have familiarity with a couple of guys on the team. First of them being the head coach, Everett Thompson. What a great pickup this is for Everett Thompson and his group. He gets a very reliable defenseman to help out this defensive unit, who over the past couple of weeks has only been running 5 defensemen and now has thrown Maximus Merrick Tortorella on the back end to try to help out a little bit as well. So really nice to have Bacon in the back in that regard, but he is a veteran as well, so he can also help guide this young team and figure out how to start winning hockey games and be able to speak up in the right ways in the locker rooms. That's a really big plus for me. And he's also got some connections with Cunningham and Monroe, as he had said. So, and I really like that last little bit, his biggest attribute, simple is sexy. I've said stay stupid simple. I like simple is sexy a little bit better. So big thanks to Seth Bacon for taking a little bit of time to speak with us today. We'll step aside for a quick commercial break and come back and wrap up the Body Armor pregame show right after this. You are watching Sentinels Hockey on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
Scott and his entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
Welcome back to the Indiana Sentinels Body Armor pregame show, and a big return coming into tonight's game, and somebody that the Sentinels have missed for nearly 2 months is Nolan Dawson. We got a chance to talk with him yesterday in the second intermission. If you didn't get a chance to look at that, go back to our last stream at intermission and go to the second intermission. He and I got to talk for a little bit there, but how nice is it to have Nolan Dawson back in the lineup? Left the Sentinels 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points on the season. When he was overseas in Finland with Muik Hockey, he had 1 goal, 6 assists, and 7 points in 11 games played with those guys. So really good showing for Nolan Dawson. The 3 keys to tonight's game. First and foremost for me, the Sentinels absolutely 100% need to be more physical in today's game. We saw the first period of last night's game be ultra physical. That really tapered off for the Sentinels after that period had ended, and the Prowlers kept on pushing and pushing and pushing. They never took their foot off the gas pedal, and that's a big reason why the Sentinels were unable to pull out a victory last night. So if they continue to stay physical and put the Prowlers back on their heels, they're going to put themselves in a very good spot. The second one that is very important is the face-off game. That certainly needs to be better for the Sentinels. In the first period, they were winning every face-off, and they had the puck right off the bat. After that, that really went away. The Prowlers started to bear down on those face-offs. So if you can't win them clean, at least tie up the centerman. And then my last one, don't get down if you give up a goal. The Sentinels have a tendency to kind of put themselves, look at themselves in the mirror and start to panic a little bit when they give up the first goal of a hockey game. So don't get down on yourselves if you do end up giving up a goal. All right, we'll send it on downstairs for the national anthem and get you starting lineups right after this. Another great rendition of the national anthem. Your starting lineup for the Indiana Sentinels. The starting forwards, Nolan Dawson getting thrown right back into it with Christers Barmanis and Corey Cunningham on his line. Richie Colarusso paired up with Seth Bacon as it was last night. And a bit of surprise in that we've got Matthias Smith making his FPHL debut in between the pipes for the Indiana Sentinels. Smith coming in into the Sentinels lineup because John Werber has hurt himself last week, a lower body injury, so a signing from Everett Thompson. Matthias Smith spent the last couple years over at UW Stevens Point. He is 3-0-1. That one is a tie in his career over at Stevens Point, a .88 goals against and a .951 save percentage with one shutout in those games. A couple things to keep an eye out for. He hasn't played in a game since February of 2025, and he also hasn't started in a hockey game since February of 2023. So it's been nearly 3 years since he has started in a hockey game, and he's getting a start in a big game against the Port Huron Prowlers tonight. Prowlers are going to go back to Reed Cooper, who's improved his record to 21-8-0-1. He's got a .224 goals against, a .929 save percentage, and as of last night, tacked on his third shutout of the season. Reed Cooper improving those numbers from last night. He is now first in the league in save percentage and second in goals against, wins, and shutouts. So these Sentinels have some work to do tonight. Sentinels wearing their home blue jerseys today, so what was supposed to happen with the Prowlers celebrating St. Patrick's Day, they had St. Patrick's Day jerseys that were ordered. They ended up not coming on time. So the Sentinels already having their blue jerseys here, elected to wear those, and the Prowlers wearing their away whites. Another thing to keep note of with the Sentinels bringing their blue jerseys, the only person who's going to be wearing a different number is Jonas Lees. He's wearing number 51 today, as his number 88 jersey is still back in Indiana. So if you see number 51 running around out there, that is Jonas Lees. Last night we saw off the face-off 3 fights. And we got a couple big guys out there today. Bormanis, Colarusso, Bacon, they can all throw them. But we get started and no fighting today. The first period of Indiana Sentinels hockey is brought to you by Sprague Hotel Developers, and we are underway. The Prowlers enter the Sentinels zone. Pass out in front, deflected off of Bacon, and ended up going on net, but stealing off that post there and making his first save is Smith. Dawson trying to throw a check to get that puck out to the neutral zone. He has lost his stick as well. It's in behind the net. Finally, he comes to the bench and ends up getting a new one. Cunningham for the Sentinels wins a board battle and clears this puck out to the neutral zone. On the far side, it ends up getting dumped in deep by Parsons. Wrapped around the wall. Cunningham over skates, but Panovanov there to pick it up and start wheeling through the neutral zone. PB there to chip it into the corner. Ivan Panovanov will wrap it around the wall. Terrain at the blue line. Can't get to that puck first. It's skated out to center by Federle. Federle looking over to Lackney. His wrist shot that's knocked aside by Smith. And the Sentinels will pick up the rebound. It's Peavy chipping it up ahead for Esposito, who's a healthy scratch last night. He's going to have some jump in this game today, Ethan Esposito. Lackney will chip it up ahead for Graham, who will dump it in deep. Takes a hit from Romeo Terrain. It's wrapped up the wall and out to center ice, where it's picked up now by Federle. Or pardon me, Favaro. His pass for Price was at his feet, and Terrain will take over. Pavlov trying to settle this puck down, looking in front for Zinchenko. It was a rolling puck still as he ran into Reggie Millette. DeCumb's taking over. He'll throw it in behind the net. Price there will bring it up the wall and cycle it back down for Vincent DeCumbus. Millette goes off the stick of Dawson, which is still laying on the ice in behind the Sentinels goal. Comes to Tomacek, and he'll flip it out through to the neutral zone. Tomacek will slide this one out the opposite side. Zinchenko there to pick it up. He's got some speed. Will walk in and shoot one. Save made there by Cooper, and the rebound pops out. Zinchenko there to pick it right back up again. He'll go far side. Seth Bacon's wrister redirected on that save made. Rebound is at the side of the goal, and unable to power it home was Bormanis. Zinchenko now as the Sentinels keep the pressure on. Up to Bacon at the blue line. His wrist shot blocked by DeCumbus up at the blue line. Or Heikela, pardon me. Bormanis in behind the net. Really good pressure here from the Sentinels, and they are going to get tagged here for too many men on the ice. They had 6 guys out on the ice. Unfortunate, too, because the Sentinels really had some good pressure in the offensive zone. There was just one guy who thought there was a line change. There was not. And the Sentinels are going to get a Too many men on the ice call. So the first big test in net for Matthias Smith. Or Matthias Smith, pardon me. Talked with Everett Thompson today about Smith. He said that he was really impressed with him in practice this week. He proved hard to beat. So he decided to give him a chance in this game today. Good start on this penalty kill, the Powerade penalty kill for the Indiana Sentinels. As they cleared all the way down off the face-off win. Anderson with it over the logo, try to drop this one off. Bit of a slow pass, so the Prowlers are going to have to regroup. It's Favaro. Sentinels will start out with Bormanis, Lease, Panavanov, and Pavlov as the first penalty killing unit, as Panavanov comes over, takes that away from Price, but stepped on the puck and ended up losing his balance, so it stays inside the zone. Favaro up top will walk in, wire one that ends up going wide of the net. Hot bounce off the wall, goes right to Pavlov. He'll clear. Full line change for the Sentinels as Peavy and Tomacek come out. Pavlov, the only one who stays out. Bacon has stepped on for Panavanov. Reggie Millette will take over with under a minute to go. On this penalty, he gets taken down, and it's going to be 5-on-3 for 46 seconds. Peavy is going to sit down for a couple minutes. So as I mentioned, the Powerade penalty kill last night really struggled. 2 for 4. They gave up 2 big goals in the second period. And they are really put to the test now. Dawson out there with Panavanov and Bacon. Reggie Millette up top will throw this one down low, bump down front. Big save by Smith. Rebound, they score! Oh, Smith made the first stop, and then the rebound got right back to Price, who moved it over. And it's batted home by Alex Johnson, I believe. And for Johnson, he picks up his 9th goal of the season. It's 1-0 Port Huron. So with 29 seconds left to go on that last penalty, or on that first penalty, Sentinels unable to clear that out, and will still be on the penalty kill. Here's Bobby Price with it. He'll leave it back for Favaro as the Prowlers sniff it for more. Price will wheel around Pavlov, hold on to it. Take it out the opposite side, bring it out to the blue line. Good read there by Lease. He'll chip it out to center ice, gets taken down, and he's going to draw a penalty himself. So good hard work there by Jonas Lease. And Anderson, who knew he was going to get blown past, only thing he could do was trip him up. And he gets tagged. So the Sentinels able to take a bit of a breath of fresh air there and get an offensive zone faceoff. So 4-on-4 we go. Off the draw, it gets deflected right to Cooper. Picked up now by the Prowlers. A drop pass for Lackney. Wasn't expecting it. You got to go back and grab it. He does that and will curl back at the neutral zone, loses an edge. Ends up getting the puck right back, though, on that far wall. Brian Parsons on the near side. Will walk in and throw it across back to Lackney once more. Out to the blue line. Pass across to Parsons. He's able to keep it in for a moment. Cunningham We'll drop this back for Panavanov as the Sentinels finish up a line change. Got about a half a minute before they go on the power play. Ivan Panavanov back in his own end. Finds Marek Tortorella. His cross-ice pass hits Tomacek in stride. Tomacek able to dip the shoulder and get in. Tried a bad angle shot that went off the side of the post. Nearly surprised Cooper. Reggie Millette picks it up. Has Zinchenko all over him. Tries to move it around. Banked it high up off the glass. Tomacek, a hard forecheck, takes that away. Out to the point, Marek Tortorella. Big save by Cooper. Oh, Maximus Marek Tortorella got a lot on that slap shot, and Cooper picking cherries, able to grab that one with the glove. Best chance of the game right there for the Sentinels, and Cooper at the ready will step aside. It's 1-0 Prowlers on a power play goal. We'll go back to McMorran Place. Andy Petzinger here. Prowlers lead it 1-0, but the Sentinels now have a power play for the next 41 seconds. They'll start out with the Zinchenko group with Dawson on his right side, Cunningham on his left, Bacon and Pavlov on the back end for this shortened Haas Insurance power play. Like I mentioned, went 0 for 4 last night. So they are now at 14.6% on the season. Meanwhile, the Prowlers penalty kill 83.2, which is second in the Empire Division. Long shot here from Pavlov. Big save made by Cooper. The rebound goes to Dawson. He'll go right back up top. D to D. Bacon going down low to Cunningham. Back up top for Bacon. They go around the horn with it. Pavlov now up high. Finding Cunningham in the corner. Up top for Bacon. The tip in front from Dawson. That one sails wide. Another shot from Pavlov. That one nearly coughed up by Cooper, but he's able to reel that in. That puck was free for a moment. Dawson reaching in, trying to get a poke at it. Prowler's not happy about it. But that puck was free for a brief moment. 5 seconds left to go on the penalty to Blake Anderson, and a couple really good looks there from that first Sentinels power play unit. They'll finish it out with Bauer, Tomacek, and Lease, with Terrain and Panavanov on defense. Lease will win this draw straight back. Panavanov there. His shot from the blue line deflected off of a leg and in behind. Goes to the corner. One battle there by Lease. Goes up top for Tomacek. That shot blocked by Bucell and ends up going out to the neutral zone. So both teams now back at full strength. Sentinels will wrap it around. Bauer has this one hop over his stick to the blue line. Redirect in front, they score! Oh, a perfect shot pass from the blue line by Bryant Parsons, I believe. It was either he or Brockway. And walking in front with his stick on the ice was Jamie Bucell. He redirects it up over the shoulder of Matthias Smith, and it's 2-0 Port Huron. So just as the Prowlers get back to even strength, they come down the ice and put one into the back of the net to make it 2-0. 2 goals for the Prowlers in this game, with really nothing that Matthias Smith could do about it. First goal on the power play, made a brilliant first stop, and the rebound just went directly to Johnson, who was waiting back door. And that second goal is just a perfect tip in front. Went right over his shoulder and into the back of the net. There's Bobby Price pulling up. Gets knocked to the ice by Tortorella. Favaro carries on. He'll find an open spot in the corner for Reggie Millette. Millette up top will pull up. Can't find a way to get to the middle of the ice. Comes back out to the blue line. Oregon will send it down low. Back to Millette. He'll swing it up high and then curl at the blue line. A turnaround shot gets blocked on the way through. Tortorella able to sweep that one to the corner. Brad Byrne out to center ice. His dump-it attempt ended up going off of Johnson. Both teams finishing up some line changes, so the Prowlers will bring it back and try to set up a breakout. Graham able to redirect this puck in deep. Richie Colarusso takes a huge hit by Dylan Marty, who had quite a few hits in last night's game. He's picking right back up from where he left off. Out to the blue line, long wrist shot. Good save there from Smith on a moving screen in front. They battle forward in the corner. Backhand pass out towards the slot by Graham. Nobody home but Bozinchenko. And Tomacek now will push it forward. Tomacek throwing it towards the net. That's gloved and held by Reed Cooper, who will hang on. You can see a pretty determined effort here from the Sentinels to make sure that they're throwing as many pucks as they can on net. Leading right now 7-6 in the shots category. As I mentioned before, they had 11 shots in the first period last night and then really tailed off as the game progressed. Only 4 shots in the second period and another 4 in the third. As there's a stop by Smith and a long clapper from Anderson, who then takes down Panavanov, and Panavanov drawing another power play for the Sentinels. As long as these Sentinels are able to keep their heads, it should be a power play, that is. But for the second time, Anderson will head to the box today. So back to the Haas Insurance power play for the Indiana Sentinels, who only had 41 seconds on their first power play opportunity and got a lot of good chances out of it. So with a full power play here, let's see what they're able to do off the draw. Dawson is able to win this to the wall for Cunningham. That puck was fumbling, though. He couldn't really get too much on that pass to Pavlov at the blue line, and it ended up going out to center ice. Bacon from the blue line. His slap shot gets blocked, comes right back to Bacon. Dropping it to Zinchenko up top again for Bacon. D-to-D, Pavlov holding. He's got Zinchenko backdoor. That cross-ice pass was red. Deflects up and hits the high glass, but stays in play. Cunningham for Pavlov. Pavlov coming down low, shooting. What's saved by Cooper? The rebound in front. Dawson was there, but unable to push it past Cooper, who hangs on to it. So once again, a couple of really good chances for the Sentinels on this power play, and Cooper has had to be sharp. Same power play unit stays out for the Sentinels. Dawson on the draw here against Reggie Millette. Dawson wins this one. Zinchenko there to pick it up. He'll drop it out to the blue line for Pavlov. His shot in front. It's a shot pass for Cunningham, and Cunningham, I don't believe, was prepared for it. Ended up swiping that one wide and then takes a shot from the blue line. That gets caught and held by Cooper. Minute 13 still remaining on this power play for the Sentinels, so they'll bring out a different unit. Bauer, Tomacek, and Lease with Panovanov and Esposito up top. Bauer was the guy to score a power play goal for the Sentinels last weekend to break that 0 for 48 drought. Here's a one-timer from Tomacek. Good stick there from Johnson to knock that one out of play. Panovanov setting up Tomacek on this near wall. Tomacek trying to get a one-timer off to surprise Cooper, ends up getting blocked and goes out of play. Sentinels trail it 2-0, but have another minute and 4 left to go on this power play when we come back. You're watching Sentinels Hockey on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
Vitamin water helps keep me hydrated. Encore. After encore. After encore. Next thing you know, it felt just like this. Come on. Vitamin water from New York.
Huron. Sentinels have another minute and 4 seconds left to go on this Haas Insurance power play. And they'll go right back to that Zinchenko, Dawson, Cunningham unit with Bacon and Pavlov on the back end. Now the Sentinels, with being shut out last night, that's not the only time this season that they've been shut out. They've been shut out 7 different times on this season. There you can see all the times that they've been shut out. This is the second time against Port Huron that they've been whitewashed. But hoping to break the spell again today. They'll go around the horn, pass out in front from Zinchenko. That's picked off by Cooper, and he'll hang on to that. Zinchenko knew that he had a man out in front in Nolan Dawson. Tried to get that redirect, but Cooper, getting his stick in the lane there, took that away. Well, welcome back to Nolan Dawson. He's certainly been thrown right back into things for the Indiana Sentinels, getting penalty kill time and power play time in the first half of this first period. Bacon unable to control that puck at the blue line, gets swiped away from him, or pardon me, that's Pavlov, and it gets cleared all the way down. Bacon there to pick it up and set up the breakout. Vlad Pavlov, Lackney on him, swipes that one back. And now Bacon through the neutral zone to the far side for Dawson. He takes a hit, gets it in deep. Zinchenko loses his stick amid the battle. Gets it out to the blue line though. There's Bacon. Down low for Cunningham. Back up top for Seth Bacon. These two former teammates out in Monroe. Bacon keeps that in at the blue line. Cunningham to the middle, shooting one. Save again by Cooper. Boy, oh boy, Reed Cooper seeing that puck like it's a beach ball right now. And the important thing is, not only is he making the save, but he's given up no rebound at all. We've got bodies in front of the net. Zinchenko right there to clean up any garbage that there is, but there's none to be had right now. Five seconds left to go on the power play. Esposito on the draw here against Millette. He's got Peavy on his right, and right behind him is Brendan Bauer. Esposito trying to win this one straight back. Now he pushes it forward in front for Peavy. That deflected off of Favaro and goes in behind the net. Bauer gets knocked down to the ice, tries to keep that puck alive, couldn't do so. And it ends up being an offside call on the Sentinels. 8:41 left to go on the clock. Sentinels now 0 for 2 on their power play chances, but plenty of chances there were. Just unable to beat Cooper. Millette dumps this one in. Got too much air underneath that and ended up sending it well out of play. So we'll get another whistle here. Face-off coming out to center ice. Bormanis on the draw here against Vincent Tecumseh. Prowlers control off the face-off win, dumped in by Timothy Organ. Pavlov there to get it. Prowlers had to tag up as they were off sides, which gives Pavlov some space to move. He'll chip and chase after it. Tried to sweep that one out to the middle of the ice, but Organ was there to take it away. Couldn't clear it out past Dawson. Second opportunity, though, Tecumseh able to get that one out. Now Bobby Price around the check of Pavlov. Tried to get to the net, lost control of the puck. Bounces out to the blue line. Wrist shot here off the glass and bounces back to Millette on the near wall. Reggie Millette, turnaround shot. Good save there from Smith. Is he able to pick that one up through a screen and gather it in? Tyus Smith, a rather big goaltender, 6'2", 215. Compare that to Reed Cooper on the other side, who's 6'2", 195. So Smith certainly takes up a lot of net when he's in there. Anderson had that go off his skate on the face-off win right to Zinchenko, who then gets hit hard as he was trying to cross his way into the offensive zone. Parsons stepped up on him and knocked him down. R2 Heikkila in behind. Finds Anderson. Tried to surprise Smith with a shot from the wall, but Smith ready for that. And cleared out through center ice. Tomacek, he braces for a hit along the wall. Flipped out to the neutral zone. Bacon will swat it right back in. Under 7.5 remaining here in period number 1. Sentinels trail by 2. Thanks to goals coming from Johnson and Bucell. And here's another chance for the Prowlers trying to drag it in, but nice job by Peavy on the back check to stick check Anderson. Romeo Terrain flipping this one into the offensive zone was apparently short of center when he had done so, so it's going to be an icing call on the Sentinels, and Everett Thompson not agreeing with that call. Seemed to me like from up here he was well past that center red line, but linesmen have a bit of a better view than I do. PV wins that one back to Panovanov. He goes D-to-D for Esposito, high up off the glass and out to center. Hoping for Zinchenko, who was waiting at the far blue line, but he was well covered. Johnson dumps this one in deep, wraps around the wall, Federley there to pick it right back up and wrap it for Graham, who lets it go back out to the blue line. There's Alex Johnson. His pass for Graham misses him, goes along the wall. Bauer trying to push this one out to center ice. Nice job by Bauer to use his size to force that puck out to the neutral zone. Federley unable to control that pass. Bauer takes it away and will dump it in. Don't forget about those boards in the corner. Last night we saw a couple times on dump-ins, if it hits it the right way, it bounces off the boards and comes right back out to the middle of the ice. So that might be something the Sentinels want to keep an eye on in today's game. Cleared out to the neutral zone. Tortorella. His pass up ahead for Dawson was a little out of his reach. Oregon across for Reggie Millette. He'll cross center red and dump it in deep. Wraps hard around the wall. Pavlov there to pick it off. Comes back out to the point for Oregon. Whiffs on his pass as it bounces around in the near circle. Tortorella can't clear it out. Oregon keeps it alive at the blue line. Tecumseh down low for Reggie Millette. He's well covered by Pavlov. And the Sentinels will take this puck away. It's Dawson dumping it in. Hard wraparound, finding Cunningham on the far wall, who lost his edge. He was trying to do a bit of a spinorama. And now cleared out of play, and this should be a delay of game call. It is. Bobby Price is trying to clear that puck out of his zone. The glass is a little shorter on that far side. right in the middle of the ice. And then it went right out of play. So the third penalty of the period for the Prowlers. And with 5:17 left to go in the first, another really good opportunity for the Sentinels. Another Haas Insurance power play. Peavy, Bauer, and Esposito to start this power play unit with Panavanov and Tomacek. Esposito has it along the wall. He's well checked there by Lackney, who can't clear. Kept in by Peavy. He'll find Tomacek near side. Try to pass it out in front. Maybe a shot pass for Bauer, but Bauer unable to get his stick free. The puck ends up getting cleared all the way back down. Blake Peavy on the near side will battle through a couple of sticks, get in over the line and wrap it around, so it goes to Tomacek on the far side. He puts it back in behind to Peavy. He'll send it right back up the wall. Panavanov has it caught up in a sliding Prowler player. That's Anderson down on the ground. Pops to the corner where Tomacek gets a little help from Bauer. Now Peavy coming in to help. Out to the blue line, Panavanov holding. Shooting one right into the skates of Anderson. And back the other way, out to play it here is Smith, as he realized that there were too many Prowler players coming in. He had to play that puck and hits off of Anderson. It ends up going out of play. 4:23 left to play in the first period, and a minute and 5 seconds left to go on the power play. We'll step aside once more for a commercial break and be back with the final 4.5 of the first period after this. You're watching the Indiana Sentinels on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
What's in your decision to donate blood? More than you know. One donation can save lives and fuel research to save many more. A few moments of your time sparks moments like these and these. Hope cures, empowers, and strengthens us. Hope is in all the moments that matter, and it's in all of us. Versity Blood Centers. Hope, it's in our blood.
Face-off will come all the way back inside the Sentinel zone. 1:05 left to go on the power play. 4:23 left to go in the period. Dawson on the draw here will win this one. Pavlov, though unable to get that past Austin Federley, has to go back the other way, whereas Zinchenko legs it out through the neutral zone. Get in over the line. We'll pull up and go back out to the blue line. There's Seth Bacon. D for Pavlov. Down to the far corner. Zinchenko. Dawson releases in behind and picks up that puck. We'll force it over to Zinchenko once again. Up top, Pavlov, D for Bacon. Bacon to the middle of the ice for Cunningham, acting as that bumper guy. Couldn't get the redirect that he was looking for. Now Zinchenko. Try to go cross ice again as Bacon was starting to sneak down. Couldn't get it to him. Held in, though, by Pavlov. 20 left to go on the power play. Cunningham trying to win a board battle. Pavlov sweeps it down low. He's got Dawson there. Dawson holding, cross ice pass to Flex. Bacon holding onto it on the far side. Seth Bacon over to Pavlov. Pavlov, cross ice feed to Flex, back to Bacon at the far point. His wrist shot gets blocked again, and right out of the box there is Bobby Price to pick this one up. So both teams back at full strength. More good pressure by that power play unit, but a lot of blocked shots on that power play for Port Huron. Specifically in the final, I would say 30 to 40 seconds. Prowlers now get the players they want on the ice and dump this puck in deep. Richie Colarusso chasing after it. Tecumseh beats him to the puck. Price is there to grab it on the far side. He'll cycle it down low. Reggie Millette. Across forward to Cumbus. He gets hit in the corner. Colarusso pinning him up along the wall. Trying to dig that puck out. Also is Noah Bradburn. Out to the blue line. Johnson's shot gets blocked and cleared out by the Sentinels. Not much further than Brett Lockhart, though. Now Lockhart up ahead for DeCumbus. He'll one-hand that across for Lackney, who tries to hack it towards the net. It gets blocked on the way through by a couple of Sentinels players. Unable to clear, though, is Indiana. Lackney had his stick tied up, and Bauer will take that one away and flip it up ahead. Tomacek there to try to settle down a bouncing puck. Could not, as it stopped in behind him. The Prowlers will exit again out to center. Lucas Lackney, 3-on-2. Drag move around Tortorella. Backdoor pass. He had Graham going to the near post, but it hopped over his stick and bounces out to Tomacek. Tomacek, who loses an edge coming in over the line, is able to get that puck back and send it to Esposito. Sentinels keep control. Pavlov then takes a check as he dumps it in deep. As we approach the final minute of play here in period number 1, Esposito will put it down low. Lees has it skip past him. Bozinchenko will leave it there for Lees along the wall, who then gets smushed along the boards by Brockway, who then clears it out to center. Here's Heikala pulling up, waiting for a couple players to get off on a line change. Bucell giving it back to Anderson. He's curling, trying to get around Tortorella. His pass towards the slot, though, intercepted by Esposito, who clears. Anderson again inside the Sentinel zone. A bad angle shot once again, making sure Smith is integrated in this hockey game. Smith, another good stop. Favaro in front for Anderson out to the blue line. Here's Oregon trying to get around a check. Good poke check there from Zinchenko. Wasn't fooled by that drag move and poked that one past Oregon. Price along the near wall. Pushes this to DeCumbus. Up top for Favaro. Shooting one. Good shrugging save there by Smith. The rebound. Lay loose. They score. Smith able to make that first stop. Thought he had it caught up in his sweater. It laid loose in the crease, and there to pick it up is Bobby Price, the team's leading goal scorer. And Price picks up his 19th of the season. It's 3-0 Prowlers. And another late goal given up in a period by the Sentinels. Prowlers win this face-off. Johnson will go D-to-D, and it gets sent the length of the ice. Redirected in, so icing is waved off. Pavlov needing to be careful. That gives it away to Millette. Big save right at the buzzer. Pavlov trying to clear that puck out. Gave it away to Reggie Millette right in the high slot, and Smith with his biggest save of the period comes right at the horn, and that more than likely would have counted. It seemed like the horn went as the save was being made, so it would have been hard to overturn that had it gone in. Prowlers lead at 3-0. Shots after one period are 12-11 in favor of the Sentinels, who once again had quite a few good opportunities, both even strength and on the power play, but unable to beat Reed Cooper in the first period. We'll step aside for intermission and come back right after this. You're watching the Indiana Sentinels on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
Scott and his entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
What's in your decision to donate blood? More than you know. One donation can save lives and fuel research to save many more. A few moments of your time sparks moments like these. And these. Hope cures, empowers, and strengthens us. Hope is in all the moments that matter. And it's in all of us. Versity Blood Centers. Hope. It's in our blood.
Welcome back to McMorran Place, where the Indiana Sentinels find themselves down 3-0 through the first 20 minutes of play. And that's not to say that they didn't play well in that first period, to be quite honest with you. I thought they might have had a better first period than what they showed yesterday from an offensive standpoint, for sure. I thought that the chances that they generated offensively were far superior than what they were able to generate last night against the Port Huron Prowlers and Reed Cooper. Unfortunately, just unable to find the back of the net here in this hockey game. The scoring started for the Prowlers with Alex Johnson just 4:16 into the period. Was able to pick up a rebound after a brilliant first save by Matthias Smith. Right out in front, was able to clean up the garbage and put it home to make it 1-0 Port Huron, with Price and Graham getting assists on those goals. Following up just about 3 minutes later, Jamie Bussell with his second of the weekend, a moving tip about 10 feet in front of the net. A beautiful shot from Brett Lockhart from the blue line. Found his stick and he redirected it into the back of the net to make it 2-0. So 2 goals there on Smith early in the hockey game that he really had no chance on at all. So a tough way to get started for Smith, but he did make some very big saves, specifically at the very end of the period after giving up the third goal of the game to Bobby Price with just 14 seconds left to play in the period. A giveaway right in the slot, and there waiting was Reggie Millette, and he let it fly right at the buzzer. The save was made by Smith, so that's a really big save for a 23-year-old kid who's making his professional hockey league debut tonight. Power play, the Prowlers are 1 for 2 on their power play opportunities today. Meanwhile, the Sentinels are 0 for 3 on theirs, but as I mentioned, generated quite a lot of chances in those power plays. It's one of those things, if the power plays keep on coming, it's going to eventually fall. Shots are 12-11 in favor of the Sentinels through that first period of play. And we take a quick moment to look around the league at what's going on right now in the FPHL. Blue Ridge is leading Danbury after one period, 1-0. As I mentioned here, the Sentinels trailing the Prowlers 3-0 after one. Out in Columbus, the Moccasins trailing the River Dragons 2-1 after one period of play. Athens with a 1-0 lead over the PD Ice Cats in South Carolina, and Binghamton and Watertown have played to a 0-0 tie so far in the first period. Last night, Binghamton able to come back and win 3-2 late in that hockey game, but Watertown really did a nice job of shutting down the Binghamton Black Bears for the most part. Blue Ridge came in yesterday just a point behind the Topeka Scarecrows for third place in the Empire Division, but the Scarecrows were able to pull out a 7-5 victory, while Blue Ridge fell to the Hat Tricks. So Blue Ridge has an opportunity tonight to try to tie the Scarecrows in the standings. The Scarecrows are the team that the Sentinels will see next. We'll see them next weekend for a 3-game set over at the Hamilton Community Ice Arena. We'll step aside once more for intermission break and come back with the second period right after this. You're watching the Indiana Sentinels on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
Scotty's entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
What's in your decision to donate blood? More than you know. One donation can save lives and fuel research to save many more. A few moments of your time sparks moments like these. And these. Hope cures, empowers, and strengthens us. Hope is in all the moments that matter. And it's in all of us. Versity Blood Centers. Hope. It's in our blood.
Welcome back to Port Huron as we get ready for the second period of play. And it looks like Everett Thompson has made the decision to go back to Chris Kerr in the second period. So after the Sentinels had gone with Matthias Smith for the first period, who, like I said, made a couple of really huge stops in that period, and you really can't blame him for the goals that he had given up. Wanting to go back to Chris Kerr to try to shake the lineup up a little bit and hopefully push the right buttons. Kerr last night made 38 saves on 40 shots in the 3-0 loss against the Prowlers. This is now his 5th game that he'll be playing in against Port Huron. He's 0-3-1 with a 348 goals against and a 911 save percentage on the season. He is 3-7-2 with a 350 goals against and a 903 save percentage. The second period of Sentinels hockey, as always, brought to you by Coca-Cola of Columbus. Everett Thompson will start out with the Bormanis, Cunningham, and Dawson group with Colarusso and Bacon on the back end. Didn't see any fights in the first period. Interested to see if we'll see anything happen here in the second, especially if the Sentinels are still having a little trouble scoring on Cooper. See if there's any fights to try to generate some energies. There's a snapshot from the blue line by Bacon that deflects off his stick and hits the netting out of play. Offensive zone draw coming for the Indiana Sentinels. Dawson and Reggie Millette on the faceoff. Good first period from Nolan Dawson in his first game back in a Sentinels uniform after spending some time out in Finland. Thought he played very well and in some important spots. Here's a pass in front for Dawson. What a save by, oh man, Reed Cooper. Oh, what a stop as Dawson had him down and out, dead to rights, but Cooper able to reach back with the paddle right in front of the goal line and rob Nolan Dawson. Reed Cooper buy a lottery ticket. Goodness gracious. Wrapped around the wall off the face-off win. Bucell met by Panavanov at the Sentinels blue line. Gets dumped in deep. Romeo Terrain had to roll off the end of his stick. Turnaround shot there from Anderson. Hits the glass. Now Heikkila back in behind to Jamie Bucell. He'll put it out to the blue line where it gets snapped back in behind the net. Anderson there to try to set up shop. Heikkila gets it around Panavanov and in behind Bucell, trying to sneak that one back to the same side that he just came from. That was read by Peavy, who intercepts. And Romeo Terrain will skate out to center ice as he backhands this one high into the air and all the way down. Was not short of center when he had done so on that try. So we play on. Here's Jamie Bucell getting in over the line. Rode hard into the boards there by Bauer. Separates him from the puck, and Bauer will move it up to center ice for Jonas Lees. Good chip pass up ahead for Tomacek, who pulls up. Once again, lost an edge. Might need to get his skate blades checked. That's a couple of times in this game that Tomacek has tried to pull up inside the offensive zone, and his feet went out from underneath. The pass out in front for Lackney, unable to control that one. Merrick Tortorella pushes it out towards the blue line, hopping over Lockhart's stick. Zinchenko after it, ties up Lockhart. Tomacek carries on, holding on to it, leaving it Zinchenko. His shot goes right through the crease and out the other side. Pavlov keeping it aligned, throwing it down low. Now up top again, Merrick Tortorella, his shot blocked on the way through. Graham in the way of that. He'll pick it up and skate out through the neutral zone. Matt Graham leaving off to the far side. Wrist shot from Federley, blocked by Pavlov and out to center ice. Up ahead, it's Reggie Millette through the neutral zone. Gets past Pavlov, who tried to throw a hip check on him. Millette throws it to an open wing. Nobody home but Cunningham. Now Nolan Dawson. He wraps it in for Merrick Tortorella on the near boards. Tortorella pinned up along the wall by three different Prowlers. DeCumbus, Millette are there. Same with Favaro. Comes free for DeCumbus. And he'll clear it out to center ice. Back pass for Price was at his feet. Tortorella will happily take that over and start wheeling and dealing. Gets it over the line and snaps one on net. The save made the rebound. Wide open net, they score! Picked up by Chris Stursborman as his first goal in an Indianapolis sweater. Hasn't played in a game until this year since the 1920 season and gets the first goal of the hockey game here. Chris Stursborman makes it 3-1. So a rare bad rebound from Reed Cooper leads to a second opportunity and a wide open cage for Chris Stursborman. A huge goal for the Sentinels to cut the deficit down to 2. They keep the pressure on. Bacon will send it down low for Peavy. Pass back out to the blue line. Anderson takes that one away. His pass was read, though, by Bacon. Anderson trying again. That one's read by Esposito. He takes it away. Just off the benches, Lease. There's the pass. Lease has it in his skates, trying to force it home. Pass Cooper, cannot do it. And then Lease gets barreled down to the ground by Anderson. All Lease was doing was driving hard to the net. Didn't even touch the goaltender, and Anderson tosses him to the ground. Anderson for sure getting a penalty here. Esposito getting tied up with Bucell. But Jonas Lee's hot off the bench, went right to the front of the net to try to jam that one home. A couple of really good stops from Cooper. And then out of nowhere, Anderson comes in and blows up Jonas Lees. Blake Anderson going to have to start paying rent in that penalty box here pretty soon. This is his third trip to the box today. And the Sentinels, who have inched closer and closer and closer with every power play opportunity, now have a goal behind them and have a chance to make it 3-2 as this puck is in behind the net. Bounced out to the opposite side. Cunningham will throw it up to the blue line. Pavlov there will walk the line and throw it to Seth Bacon. Had to roll off the end of his stick, but he still wraps it around down low for Nolan Dawson. Johnson trying to find a way to clear this puck out, gives it up. Zinchenko out to the blue line. Here's Bacon, the wrist shot, tipped in front by Dawson, and Cooper able to get a pad on it. Cunningham out to the blue line. Pavlov, back door, there's a shot from Zinchenko, and he healed it just wide. Oh, perfect setup there from Pavlov. Zinchenko had a wide open backdoor tap in, but unable to get a full blade on it. That pass up ahead for Zinchenko as he's waiting at the blue line. He's offsides. 15:23 left to play here in period number 2. The Sentinels on the power play, thanks to Blake Anderson. Taking a penalty. Now Tomacek will dump it in. Oregon there to grab it, slapping it around. Tortorella unable to keep it in at that far side. It escapes out to center ice. Here's Phil Tomacek across from Maximus Merrick Tortorella. He'll walk in and shoot one that sails wide of the net. Took a weird bounce. Nearly came right back out towards the slot. Here's Esposito on the far wall. Bauer goes right back to Esposito. Down low again for Bauer. He's met by Oregon. Looking for a place to move this puck off. Now Esposito has it in behind the goal. Once again met there by Oregon. Boys trying to dig it free. 10 seconds left to go on the power play. Here's Boromanis on the far side. Try to spin that one down low, intercepted. Nice job by Esposito to keep it in. Oh, but they're going to tag him for a penalty. Just as the power play about to expire, Esposito going to get called for a hooking. So 14:20 left to go in period number 2. Sentinels going to head to the box. We'll step aside for a commercial break and be back right after this. $14:19 left to play in the second period. The Sentinels about to head to the Powerade penalty kill as this one rolls in on net. Reeling that one in is new goaltender for the Sentinels, Chris Kerr. Kerr hasn't faced a shot in this period just yet and is now going to get thrown to the wolves with a power play opportunity for the Port Huron Prowlers. Good start to this Powerade penalty kill, though, for the Sentinels. Strange bounce off one of the partitions, goes right to Panovanov, and he'll clear it out to center ice. Back through the neutral zone, Lucas Lackney leaving it for Millette Mini 2-on-1. Didn't pull the trigger. We saw that last night. Millette had a couple of opportunities with odd man rushes, 2-on-1s, that he decided to just not shoot the puck. Now a wrist shot from the blue line. Good stop there from Kerr. Had a body in front. That's Matt Graham. That's his typical spot on the power play. But Kerr able to pick that one out through a screen. Face-off going to go to his left-hand side. Lease on the draw here. He's also got Bormanis out there with him. Bacon and Pavlov, the defenseman. Anderson will skate along the blue line, drop it right back off up top. Price tried to go back to Anderson, but Bormanis getting in the way of that. Dulled it down. Anderson able to pick it up. Sent it in behind. Jamie Bucell. Anderson on the far wall, rolled off the end of his stick. Trying to send it back down low again. Bacon getting in the way of that. Comes back out to the near blue line. Favaro. Leaving it to Bucell. They'll switch. Favaro on the wall. Walking down, dragging, trying to bet angle shot. Look out. Oh, man, it hit one of his own players up near the head. That's R2 Heikkila. Heikkila gets up right away and heads to the Port Huron bench. That was a rocket of a wrist shot from Favaro, who was just trying to go short side high on Chris Kerr. And Heikkila doing his job, going right to the front of the net. Ended up taking that one right in the side of the head. And it sounded like from up here that it caught mostly helmet. But as you could see on their faces, there was quite a bit that's still exposed. So let's hope Heikkila did not take a lot of that on any flesh. We go back to the play. Graham in behind the net for Lucas Lackney, far side. They'll go around the horn. Federley up top. Will walk to the middle of the ice, and now curling on the far side at the circle, comes down low. Unable to pass that one out in front. Now just circles with it as we come back to full strength for the first time in a little while. Esposito out of the box. So the Sentinels now 1 for 3 on the Powerade penalty kill today. Federley back in his own end. We'll move it to Brockway. Graham able to squeeze that one just through Bormanis and out to the neutral zone. Marty, his pass across to Flex, and a broken stick for Reggie Millette. Leads to an odd man chance for the Sentinels. Back the other way. Dawson, the trickle man. Cunningham just off the bench. Bormanis unable to get it past a diving Parsons. What a play. Brian Parsons sweeping with that stick. Knocked it away. Here's Dylan Marty. His pass to Flex. Look at all the broken twigs inside the Sentinel zone. Looks like a garage sale. One along the near wall, one in the middle of the ice, and one behind the net. Sentinels able to clear. Dawson has a rolling puck trying to settle this one down as he brings it back behind his own net. Leaving it for Pavlov, who nearly lost that in one of the broken sticks. Dawson then will chip this one in. He was short of center. And it will be an icing call on the Sentinels with 11:02 left to go here in period 2. Really good chance there for the Sentinels. A 3-on-1 with Bormanis, Dawson, and Cunningham, who had joined in the play just coming off the bench. And Bormanis was just trying to outweigh Brian Parsons as Parsons dove and was able to, at the very last moment, get his stick on that puck and deny a 3-on-1. That'll be something that after the game, Cooper will go up to Parsons, or maybe even in the intermission, and say, that's a phenomenal play, buddy. Thanks for having my back. DeCumbus inside the Sentinel zone. We'll wrap it around for Bobby Price. His pass in behind the net. Peavy there to intercept. And cleared out to center by Pavlov. Favaro's pass deflects off of Peavy's skates, and he's off to the races the other way. Has Bauer going to the net. There's the pass. Bauer was well covered by Favaro. And Cooper able to swipe that away. Merrick Tortorella leaving it off for Cunningham with some speed. The backhander got too much air underneath it, sent it around the glass, and it escapes out to center. Lees pulls up, moving it for Zinchenko. Rolls underneath his stick, but Zinchenko still the first one after it in the corner. As it bounced away from him, and Graham will push it out to the neutral zone, turned over to Panovanov. Quick transition for the Sentinels. Zinchenko, backhand pass to the slot, nobody home for Indiana. And dump back into the Sentinel zone. Panovanov, long exit pass for Zinchenko in the neutral zone. His centering feed for Bauer was blocked. And now Bauer going to end up getting a penalty here as he now ends up getting jumped by Lockhart, who wants to start a fight with him. A bad hit along the wall there by Bauer on Johnson. Now Bauer getting dragged to the ground by Matt Graham. Bauer's going to end up getting the penalty here against, after that hit against Johnson. We'll see what else comes of this. He did end up getting his jersey pulled up over his head. We've seen a couple times this year that if your jersey isn't tied down properly, you do get ejected from the hockey game. And Johnson needing some help to get off the ice, but not due to injury, it's because of his skate. He lost his skate blade. And now once again, we get more shouting back and forth between the benches between Chris Paulin and Everett Thompson. They're screaming at each other from in between the benches. Players now starting to group in front of the benches. Meanwhile, across the way, Blake Peavy and Bobby Price are getting explanations for what the calls are going to be. Matt Graham is sitting in the box, same as Brendan Bauer. And they are looking at the back of Bauer's jersey there. There is a question of whether or not that strap that's on the back of the jersey, it's supposed to buckle on the back of your pants. So whenever it gets tugged, not supposed to come off. However, it is made of Velcro, those straps. So if he gets ragdolled around enough, there is a chance for that to come and pop off. It is still a rather lengthy discussion there in front of the scorers table between our two referees. Our officiating staff today, Steve Goody and Logan Wheatkamp, are our referees, while Dallas Mitchell and David Fleming are our linesmen. once again, a rather lengthy conversation here just based on what ended up happening. I'm wondering if that conversation is revolving around who saw what in regards to the jersey of Brendan Bauer. Just making sure that they get everything correct. And Bauer, he was also double teamed at one point. Not only had Matt Graham all over him, but I believe Parsons was also in the area. Still a lot of yelling in between the two benches. This time Yarwood now getting into it. Now Cam Yarwood has been thrown out of the hockey game. Logan Wheatcamp has heard enough. And this crowd, it's a very good crowd here celebrating St. Patrick's Day at McMorran Place. This crowd is on its feet. They're loving all the craziness that's going on here. Seems like the referees have finally come to make a decision, and Lockhart also making his way over to the box. So 2 players in the box for Port Huron. Romeo Terrain also getting pulled over to the box for the Sentinels. So it seems like we're going to play at even strength here, whether it's 5-on-5 or 4-on-4, I'm not sure. Well, all of this started with the Sentinels trying to enter into the offensive zone. The puck was along that far wall. And Brendan Bauer finishing his check on Alex Johnson. The only problem was that Johnson's numbers were showing. So if you check a guy from behind, you're immediately going to get called for a penalty. Johnson ended up going to the ground and lost his skate blade in the process. And as he was trying to collect himself, coming to his aid were both team head coach and player Matt Graham alongside with Brett Lockhart. They were ragdoll and Bauer all over the place, and it ended up with his jersey over his head. Bauer is still staying in the penalty box, though, so they must have deemed that the Velcro on the back had opened up. He did have it tied down. He just got pulled around so much that it ripped open. So we are going to play at 5-a-side here. We'll get you all of those penalties as soon as we got them. But we are finally back to play. Here's Parsons with it for Port Huron. He'll send it in behind the net. Heikala, good to see him back on the ice. As that one go over his stick, and then a big hit in behind the play. Pavlov took that one up high. There's going to be a penalty on the Prowlers. This one rolls in on net, stopped by Cooper, and Pavlov taking a moment to recollect himself as he took a huge high hit late. And it's Dylan Marty. So Port Huron, after one of their guys gets hit, but gets right back up again. The only real issue that he had was his skate blade came off. Decides they want to start to headhunt. We got 9:13 on the clock. And Port Huron's Dylan Marty now sent to the box. So we do finally have the penalties get sent back to us. It's going to be a boarding call on Brendan Bauer. And unsportsmanlike conduct coming from the bench. That was that second penalty that Romeo Terrain is serving. And on the other side, 2 roughing calls going both to Matt Graham and Brett Lockhart. But now the Sentinels will head to the Hawes Insurance power play. My only question is this a 2-minute or a 4-minute? As that was a direct hit to the head of Vlad Pavlov. Also keeping an eye of everybody in between the benches. Richie Colarusso jawing at some of the Prowler players. Everett Thompson now brings his team in to set up a power play on the whiteboard. And it looks like they are taking a look at the video to see if this is indeed going to be a minor penalty or a major. Now, in real speed, I'll say this. It looked like Pavlov had gotten rid of the puck. And the general rule of thumb is 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. After those 2 Mississippis, you cannot hit that player. And I would say that we were at about 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi before that hit coming from Dylan Marty. But not only was the timing off, so was the location of which Pavlov got hit, which is high up in the head. Pavlov is back on the ice, checking his nose for blood. Looks like he's going to be all right, no worse for wear. There's a different bitterness in this hockey game than what we saw yesterday. Yesterday we saw 3 fights right off the bat in the first period of play, but that seemed more or less like trying to settle the score from what happened on Sunday. This right here feels a little different. This feels like pure hatred to me. Now we got Brockway and Colarusso talking at each other at center ice. The 2 linesmen are in between both benches. Peavy and Bucell awaiting the call from the referees on the opposite side who are looking at the video board. Or at the iPad, I should say. But this is what rivalries are all about. I mean, this is the 5th straight game that these teams have played against one another in a 7-day time span. There's going to be a lot of hate and a lot of bad blood between these teams that build up over that time. And there was already a lot coming into the games last weekend from the last meeting that these 2 teams had here in Port Huron, where Reggie Millette and Ryan Glazer went at it with one another, and Millette ended up leaving with a huge gash in his hand after Glazer's skate caught him right in the palm. Now it looks like we finally have a decision from the officiating staff as far as what we're going to see here on this penalty to Dylan Marty. Well, in the last 2 minutes or so, we've had two penalties that the referees have had a long discussion about. Not much hockey has been played, so the most exercise has been had are the cheerleaders that are around the building here, who have had to dance throughout the breaks. And it looks like it's only going to be a 2-minute minor to Dylan Marty. So the Haas Insurance power play coming to the Sentinels. Zinchenko and Brockway hacking at each other on that far hash mark. This is that top power play unit for the Sentinels. Now Millette and Dawson getting tossed out of the face-off circle. Cunningham going to come in and take the draw. Same with Bobby Price. Off the draw, Price is able to win this one to the corner boards. Clearing 10, Pavlov's able to seal the wall and keep that play alive. He'll send it down low for Nolan Dawson. Pass is intercepted by Millette, and he'll clear at the length of the ice. Now Zinchenko through the neutral zone. His cross-ice pass hit Federley's leg and ends up being offsides as Dawson was just a step over the line. So 8:47 left to play here in period number 2. Dylan Marty getting a charging call. It's now the 5th power play, Haas Insurance power play for the Sentinels. Clear down the length of the ice. Kerr will send it right back up, trying to catch the Prowlers on the change. It looks like he might. Tomacek leaving it for Lease. Lease holding, putting it back to the point. Colarusso. He'll one-touch it. Esposito holding onto it. Espo shot towards the net, and a good stop there from Reed Cooper. Able to find that through the screen of Jonas Lease, who's right out in front. Picked that one off and gives up no rebound. That first power play unit back out there for the Sentinels. Cunningham, Dawson, Zinchenko, Pavlov, and Bacon to try to get something done. Dawson replacing his stick. We'll go back into the face-off circle to go up against Blake Anderson. This one won to the wall by the Prowlers. Johnson there to pick it up, has Cunningham all over him. Now help from Dawson picks his pocket. He'll one-hand it to Cunningham, who ran into 2 different Prowlers. There's Anderson to clear it out to center ice. Dawson will dump it right back in. Picked up here by Cooper, who's got to figure out something to do with it, is able to lift that one and wrap it around the glass to hit Anderson and clear it out. Good job by Cooper to not panic with that puck and find a place to put it. Pavlov cross ice for Cunningham, deflects off his stick and into the Prowlers zone. Taken back by Parsons, who clears. Now Bacon hitting Cunningham. His backhand pass into the middle of the ice for Peavy, bounces and will escape back out to the neutral zone. Bacon gets it into the offensive zone. Millette trying to force it out to center ice. Pops up in the air. Price is there. He'll clear it all the way down, and that'll do it for the Haas Insurance power play. We are back to full strength. Richie Colarusso trying to chase after this puck, getting in the way of Heikkila. They battle for it in behind the goal. Heikkila comes out of there with it. Out to the blue line. Johnson will wrap it around in behind. Federley escaping Panavanov. Will walk it back out to the blue line. His snapshot gets blocked on the way through. Esposito there to pick it up for the Sentinels. Takes a hit in the corner though and coughs off the puck. Prowlers take control again. Pass out to the slot. Johnson to the blue line. Bucell, his wrist shot deflected on the way through, and Kerr with a good stop. In front there was R2 Heikkila to get a tip on that. And Kerr able to make the save and reel in the rebound with 6:28 left to play in period number 2. And all 4 players from the Bauer incident now exit onto the ice, I should say. So clear penalty boxes for the first time in about 5 minutes. Draw going to the right-hand side of Chris Kerr. Off the face-off, Pavlov will send it around the boards. Nolan Dawson there, he'll clear it through center, redirected in by Cunningham, who chases after it. Parsons all over him. Cunningham has it come right back to him, bounces out to the slot, loose puck, lays free for a moment. Pavlov's shot, but a good stop in front. That hit Bucell on the way through. Bormanis with it on the far side. Down low for Dawson, rolls over his stick, and on goal, Cooper there to grab it and hold on. Couple of chances here for the Sentinels in the second period where there's been rebounds laying about in the slot. Had another chance just then, but Pavlov denied by the shot block from Jamie Bucell. Face off to the left of Cooper. One draw by the Sentinels. Comes near side for Seth Bacon, looking for a tip in front, but Cooper once again well out above the top of that crease, able to make the save and yield no rebound. One of Cooper's best attributes there is finding pucks through screens and not giving up rebounds. Sentinels had 2 guys in front of the net there, taking away the eyes of Reed Cooper, and he still was able to find it. Clearing attempt by the Prowlers, intercepted by Zinchenko. He finds Lease in the far corner. He puts it in behind the net. Tomacek throws a good hit on Reggie Millette. Now Zinchenko trying to drag it away from Millette along the near wall. Millette there to take that. And Favaro will clear it out through center. Bouncing puck goes wide of the Sentinels' goal. Bacon ties up his man in Price. Now in behind the goal, Richie Colarusso. Throwing it up the wall, Bradburn had to roll off the end of his stick, held in by the Prowlers. Down low, Lackney's got a man coming in back door. That was Lockhart, but couldn't get the pass there. Now Lackney will go out the other side. There's 3 blue sweaters in his face. Can't do much with it. Bradburn has that bounce over his stick. Lease is there. He'll clear it down. He was short of center. And we get another icing call here on the Sentinels with 4:54 left to play in period number 2. And good timing on that icing for the Sentinels as we are ready to take our final media break. It's 3-1. Things are getting real chippy here in Port Huron. We'll be right back on the Sentinels Hockey Network after this.
Scott and his entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
3-1 is your score in favor of the Port Huron Prowlers. Sentinels and the Prowlers, like I said before, 5th straight game these two teams have played against one another, so The referees now are almost acting like mom and dad, trying to keep the siblings away from one another as they try to kill each other. Prowlers will wrap it in. Colarusso there to grab it. He finds Seth Bacon. His outlet pass to Flex. Bouncing puck. Bauer gets knocked down to the ice by Lackney. And Lockhart will play catch with Johnson in their own end. Tipped in by Graham. Colarusso from below his own goal line, hitting Bormanis. Out to center ice, Bauer. His backhand pass to Flex off Brockway. Taken back by the Prowlers. They'll clear back out to center ice. Here's Bobby Price, 1-on-2. Walking and shooting one. Look out, hot bounce off the back wall. It hit the base of the boards, that yellow part that goes around the boards, and came right back out where it came from. Kerr had to be careful there. Cunningham chasing after it. The Prowler zone gets sent hard into the wall, and here comes Bormanis. Millette now jumping in over one of the defensemen that came into play. Not sure which defenseman that is. That might be Pavlov, as now they chuck him. Here's Millette, who's going overhand on Pavlov, who's trying to go into the turtle, and Millette's still pounding him. Now Bormanis tied up here along the near side with Brian Parsons. Parsons pinning him up along the wall. Now he takes him down to the ice, does Parsons. And we are really starting to lose it here in Port Huron. Parsons now challenging the entire bench. Bormanis still down on the ice. We need a trainer out. Finally, we're able to grab one. Bormanis was thrown incredibly hard into the wall by Parsons. And I'm not sure where his helmet had gone, but his helmet was off the ice when he had hit the ground. And he may have hit his head first. And it looks like we might have some blood on the ice. They've got a towel there to try to mop him up a little bit. Sentinels equipment manager Joey Rabb out to try to help Christers Bormanis. Same as the trainer for the Port Huron Prowlers. Bormanis keeping that rag to his head as he now is on his feet and heading off the ice. There's a decent amount of blood that's out there in the corner. Well, I mentioned it before. They are going to review that last play with Parsons. You know, in my opinion, the original fight was taking place with Millette Pavlov in the corner. Everybody else just kind of pairing up to make sure that nobody else jumps in, and out of nowhere, Parsons decides to throw Bormanis into the wall. His feet go out from underneath him. Bormanis ends up getting split. on the head. But I said it before, this game feels different from what we saw yesterday. Yesterday felt like we were just settling a score from what happened last Sunday. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like pure hatred. We'll step aside for a moment while the referees take a second look at what happened in the corner. You're watching the Indiana Sentinels on the Sentinels Hockey Network. Back in Port Huron at McMorran in place. Both teams have rallied the troops a little bit to see if we could try to get back to some X's and O's here. Referees are still taking a look at the iPad to see what exactly happened between Parsons and Bormanis. If you're just tuning in, just to give you a bit of a recap, we didn't have anything like this at all in the first period. Second period stayed somewhat calm. And then it started with Brendan Bauer throwing a hit on Alex Johnson. Hit was from behind. The call was made. Port Huron doing what every hockey team would. Goes to their player's aid who is hit in a dangerous fashion. And instead of just letting it be done there, on the very next shift, Pavlov in his own end gets popped late on a high hit from Dylan Marty, which ended up only being a 2-minute minor. But kudos to the referees in that situation. They took the time, like they are now, to take a look at the referee and make sure that they got the call right. So a 2-minute minor. And then we get more stuff as one of the Sentinels players then took a check from behind. I believe it might have been Dawson who had taken that hit. There we got the Pavlov and Reggie Millette fight. Once that was all said and done, you would think that the dust had settled. Nope. Brian Parsons decides to take it a step further with Bormanis. They were tied up. Everybody, when there's a fight, you grab a partner just to make sure nobody else jumps in. That's the rule of thumb. When there's a fight on the ice, you pair up and make sure that you've got somebody. Almost like Finding Nemo. Do you have your exit buddy? That's exactly what it's supposed to be. So you pair up. Once the fight's over, you're done. That's not what happened between Parsons and Bormanis. Bormanis at some point has his helmet getting taken off. Parsons decides to drag him to the ice, and unfortunately, Bormanis went headfirst onto the ice, and it split him wide open. Left a pool of blood on the ice that has since been shoveled up and cleaned. Bormanis able to get up and skate off with some help from his Sentinels teammates. Hopefully just because he didn't want to pick up his head any more than it needed to be. Reggie Millette and Parsons getting sent to the locker rooms, whether this is just because it's a 10-minute misconduct or not. And we are under the 5-minute mark of the second period. They might come back for the third. We'll get some further instruction, but it seems like the referees have come to a conclusion. Seth Bacon getting talked to along with Federley. So on the board right now, we've got 2 5-minute major penalties. And a 2-minute minor penalty to the Sentinels. 2 5-minute major penalties to Port Huron, and a 2-minute minor to the Sentinels. It has not been uploaded as of yet, so I cannot give you the details as far as what those penalties actually are. But Sentinels, it looks like, are going to have an elongated power play, Hawes Insurance power play, and it looks like it might be a 4-on-3. Good point in the YouTube comments. That was Corey Cunningham, who had taken that hit from behind. So Cunningham, in his second game with the Indiana Sentinels, took one right in the numbers, and the Sentinels there to protect him. Pavlov is going to be the guy for the Sentinels to sit down for 2 minutes. Millette is going to get 5. And so will Parsons. And it will be a 4-on-3 for the Indiana Sentinels. So they throw out Dawson, Zinchenko, and Cunningham, with Bacon at the blue line. Looks like there was some confusion as to whether or not the Sentinels needed somebody to serve a penalty. And now we get back to the play. Seth Bacon off the face-off win will find Zinchenko. Back to Bacon. His wrist shot stopped there by Cooper. They'll hang on to it. A lot of space out on the ice here with a 4-on-3. It'll be a 4-on-3 for a full 2 minutes. And after that, Sentinels will have 3 minutes worth of a 5-on-3. And the best part in that, Sentinels fans, Sentinels can score as many times as they want because it is a 5-minute major to both of those guys. So this is a perfect opportunity for the Sentinels to really put a crooked number up on that board. A power play which has worked so well today in this game, just have not been able to click to find the back of the net. This is the perfect opportunity to do so. Here's Cunningham holding on to it. He'll find Zinchenko on the near wall. Bank pass out to the point. There's Seth Bacon. Bacon has Cunningham, the one-timer. That's blocked. Federley getting in the way of that. Nolan Dawson will switch with Cunningham. Down low for Cunningham. Backdoor for Zinchenko. Pass was blocked and cleared out of there by the Prowlers. Chris Kerr trying once again to catch Port Huron in a line change. Long pass up ahead. Here's Zinchenko. He'll pull up at the blue line. Zinchenko holding onto it up top for Cunningham. Stick knocked out of the hands of Heikkila. Cunningham holding, ripping one. Heikkila able to get a block on it. As he's got no stick, able to get that one with a leg. Comes free to the far side and cleared down by Lockhart. Great play by Heikkila. Now Bacon trying to push that one up ahead for Lease. It was behind him, and the Prowlers will clear again. Half a minute left to go until the Sentinels are on a 5-on-3. Tomacek will lead the rush, leaving it for Lease. He'll chip it, chase after it. Favaro takes a hit from Tomacek in behind the net. Bounces over the stick of Colarusso and ends up going out to center ice. Esposito through the neutral zone. Leaving it off for Lease. Lease bracing for that hit, puts it back out to the blue line for Colarusso. 5-on-3 now for the Indiana Sentinels. Pavlov out of the box, Bauer out for him. Here's Colarusso shooting, big save made, rebound! Loose there for Lease, couldn't get the handle on it. Pass out in front, comes free, big save by Cooper! Oh! Reed Cooper diving across, able to get that with the glove and deny Ethan Esposito. What a save! Reed Cooper, brilliant. That was a wide open net for Ethan Esposito. And Cooper diving across with the glove, making the save of the game so far. Sentinels win the faceoff. Pavlov has it up top. Across for Bacon, the one-timer deflected off of Graham and sails just wide of the net. Here's Nolan Dawson. He'll push it back out to the point. There's Pavlov finding Bacon near circle. Wrister blocked. Pavlov keeps it alive. Cunningham far side. Back up top for Bacon. They'll switch. Leaving it for Cunningham. He's got some space. Backdoor. Pavlov had a roll over his stick. It was a wide open net. Up top for Bacon. Block shot. Diving across there was Parsons. Or excuse me. That was Johnson. And another huge block for the Prowlers. Under a minute left to play in the second period. 2 minutes left to go on the 5-on-3. Here's Zinchenko. He leaves it to Tortorella. Got caught up in some skates, though. Comes back to Zinchenko. Now finally comes to Maximus Merrick Tortorella. D with Pavlov. Cunningham. He and Pavlov will switch, throwing it towards the net. Blocked. Pavlov has it once more up top for Tortorella. Tortorella dragging, shooting, save made by Cooper. Cooper able to pin that one to the ice. Usually Cooper making those types of saves is up at the top of his crease. Right there, he was more so towards the goal line, trying to see that puck and was able to grab it just in time. Really good work by this Sentinels power play unit. Peavy, Tomacek, Bauer, Terrain, and Tortorella on the ice for the rest of this 5-on-3. One draw by Peavy. Here's Merrick Tortorella. Leaving it down low. Tomacek back up top for Merrick Tortorella. He's got Terrain back door, or excuse me, at the far point. Terrain able to keep it alive. Puts it down low for Tomacek. He'll switch with Bauer. Now Peavy at the blue line. Across for Merrick Tortorella. The shot was fanned on and rolls in on goal. Cooper will reel it in with 12.9 to go on the clock. One more chance for this Haas Insurance power play for the Sentinels in the remainder of this period. They go back with Zinchenko, Dawson, Esposito, Bacon, and Colarusso. Dawson will win the draw. Esposito comes back up top to Colarusso. Near side here for Bacon. He finds Colarusso. Cross ice pass for Zinchenko. Tried to backhand that one toward the net and shoveled it wide. Bacon again shooting one. Had his stick lifted at the last second. And the period will come to a close. Matt Graham with a very important stick lift as Bacon had time to walk in and fire that puck Graham able to pick up his stick at the very last second. And that's how the period will come to a close. So the Sentinels, at the end of all of that, get the only goal in the period. Shots are 24-14. After 2 periods of play in that period, Sentinels only giving up 3 shots on net while putting up 12 of their own. And they were finally able to find an answer for Reed Cooper. It was Christers Bormanis before he was injured, picking up a rebound. A really good rush up the ice from Maximus Merrick Tortorella. Threw the puck on net. The rebound popped free, and Bormanis had a wide open cage to pick up his first in a Sentinels sweater. We will step aside for the second intermission and come back with the intermission report in about 10 minutes' time. 3-1 Port Huron. You are watching the Indiana Sentinels on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
Scott and his entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
What's in your decision to donate blood? More than you know. One donation can save lives and fuel research to save many more. A few moments of your time sparks moments like these and these. Hope cures, empowers, and strengthens us. Hope is in all the moments that matter, and it's in all of us. Versity Blood Centers. Hope, it's in our blood.
welcome you back to Port Huron at McMorran Place. The Prowlers lead the Indiana Sentinels 3-1 through 40 minutes of play. The Sentinels really owning that period, out shooting the Prowlers 12-3. And they still have a minute and 8 seconds on the two-man advantage, and they'll have some fresh ice to do so. Only goal in the period coming from Christers Bormanis. Bormanis picking up his first in an Indiana sweater. The assist coming from Merrick Tortorella. And good news, I ran down to the locker room and came back up here, and Christers Bormanis is all glued up. They did a neuro check on him as well. He is doing all right, so he is actually going to come back out and finish out this hockey game. So that is a brave man to come back out onto the ice after he was openly bleeding on the ground. But he is all cleaned up and passed all the checks in order to come back and play here in the third period. Just to go over those penalties one more time for you, because there was a lot going on there. Going off to the box was Ben Brockway. He had the original boarding minor. Pavlov got an unsportsmanlike conduct. Bormanis also getting an unsportsmanlike conduct. Reggie Millette getting 5 minutes for fighting. Parsons getting 5 minutes for fighting, which has been served by Dylan Marty. On top of that 5 minutes, Brian Parsons has been ejected from the game. He gets a game misconduct for fighting after the original altercation. So the referees did see the exact same thing that we saw up here, where the fight was over. Everything was done, but for some reasons, Parsons wanted to keep going, and he tossed Bormanis down to the ice and split him open. So I'm sure that was not the intention for Parsons to do that, but that is a lesson as far as when to just let things go. So it is a 3-1 Port Huron lead through 40 minutes of play as we take a quick look around the league. There you see all the games that are going on today. The Blue Ridge Bobcats leading Danbury 2-1 in the third period of play. That would be a very important 3 points for Blue Ridge to catch up to Topeka in the standings and tie them at third place. Topeka is idle today, not playing. Out in Columbus, the Moccasins and the River Dragons tied at 3 in the third period of play. By the way, just to tell you how long that second period was, both of those games are past the midway point of the third period. We all started at the same time. So just to give you an idea as far as how long this game has actually gone, that's how long. Athens and PD. Athens leading 3-2 in the second period out in South Carolina. Binghamton has laid the boom on Watertown 8-1. With the third period just getting ready to start there. And out in Baton Rouge, the Thunderbirds taking on the Zydeco. Thunderbirds leading it 2-1 through 2 periods of play. We've got a hockey game to finish out here in Port Huron. Don't go away, folks. This thing is long from over. Sentinels are getting some help coming back in Christers Bormanis from the locker room. They'll have a minute and 8 seconds to start this period on a 5-on-3 two-man advantage. And we'll have it all right here for you on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
His entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
What's in your decision to donate blood? More than you know. One donation can save lives and fuel research to save many more. A few moments of your time sparks moments like these. And these. Hope cures, empowers, and strengthens us. Hope is in all the moments that matter, and it's in all of us. Versity Blood Centers. Hope, it's in our blood.
Welcome back to Port Huron. McMorran Place. Andy Petzinger here, happy to bring you along on the broadcast. The Sentinels have a 5-on-3 for the next minute and 8 seconds. And more importantly, they get Christopher Bormanis back on the ice. Like I said in the intermission, he has cleared all the tests. They glued him up. Had a nice little gash on the back of his head, but he is glued up, passed the neuro exam, and is ready to go here today. And if you missed it in the intermission, Brian Parsons, who was the guilty party of taking down Bormanis, got a 5-minute major for fighting and a 10-minute game misconduct. He has been ejected from the hockey game for continuing a fight after an altercation. So a huge chance for the Indiana Sentinels here on the Haas Insurance power play. They'll start out with Dawson, Lease, Zinchenko, Cunningham, and Pavlov. As the Prowlers off the draw will dump this puck down. The third period of Sentinels hockey brought to you by Ryan Furr Creative. Here's Dawson down the wing, holding onto it in behind the net. Will come out the opposite side and pull up at the blue line, dropping it there for Vlad Pavlov. Now Cunningham with it, down low for Dawson. He's got Pavlov up top. Tried to go down low for Zinchenko. Couldn't get the puck there. Bounces free to the near side where Cunningham will control. Pavlov now up top. 38 seconds to play on the power play. Throw it toward the net. They score! There's Nolan Dawson. Welcome back to the lineup. Nolan Dawson right on the back door. Pots that one home. An early goal for the Sentinels. 19:23 left to play in the period. It's still a 5-on-3 for another 31 seconds. Or 34 seconds, pardon me. Power play strike for the Sentinels, and they stay on the power play. Cooper's clearing attempt goes right to Zinchenko, leaving it for Pavlov. Back up top for Zinchenko. Pavlov now right to the middle of the ice, shooting one. Blocked rebound, bounced up over the air. There was Cunningham to try to swat that one home. 15 left on the penalties. Here's Dawson with it, holding onto it, dropping it to Pavlov, walking, shooting. Tried to get the tip from Zinchenko, but it was blocked. And a clearing attempt here from Favaro goes all the way down. Both teams are now back at full strength, but a successful power play for the Sentinels as they are able to beat Reed Cooper and bring this to a 3-2 hockey game. Huge goal in the first minute of the period. Here's Zinchenko at the blue line. Long shot sails wide. Pavlov trying to settle down a bouncing puck. Takes a hit from Brockway. Dawson looking to go to the middle of the ice. Was cut off there, and Lackney will carry it through the neutral zone. He'll dump it in deep. Bo Zinchenko leaving it off to the far side for Bacon. Had it escape him for a brief moment, but Bacon able to regain control of it and bring it back to Colarusso. Lackney hard on the forecheck there. Taken away. Shot from right above the circles. That's Federley. And a good save from Chris Kerr, who hasn't seen much action in today's game. If you're just tuning in, Kerr came into today's hockey game in the second period after the Sentinels started Matthias Smith, who is on the roster. There's a shot from Anderson off the glove of Kerr and wide. Matthias Smith on the roster from UW Stevens Point because John Werber was injured in practice this week. Here's Graham's pass out in front, deflecting around into the slot, bouncing around. Sentinels trying to regain control of it. Bacon gets to it and will clear. Johnston, who opened the scoring for the Prowlers back in the first period, what seems like last week. Now puck bouncing around, dumped in deep by Marty, who takes a hit from Esposito. Esposito got the hands up on Marty, and he's going to get called here for a penalty. So Espo, his second penalty of the game, will head to the box. Going to be a high sticking call on Esposito. Just a 2-minute minor. Face off to the left-hand side of Kerr. Draw one by the Prowlers. Here's Favaro walking the blue line. He'll switch with Price. The drop pass comes just outside the line and is going to be offsides on Port Huron. So another Powerade penalty kill for the Sentinels in today's hockey game. They gave up 1 goal in the first period, but since then have done a nice job to lock it down. They are 1 for 8 on their power plays today, or excuse me, 7 for 8 on their penalty kills today. Blake Anderson curling will drop it to Bobby Price through the neutral zone. Trying to get around Panavanov, leaves it there for Heikla, and a good save from Kerr. Rebound comes out to Favaro. Another save from Kerr with the left pad. Taken by Dawson. He'll clear at the length of the ice. 2 big stops there from Chris Kerr in net for the Sentinels. Back in the Prowler zone. Lackney had that escape him in the neutral zone. Tomacek, hard of the forecheck, takes it away. Tried to pull up, but lost control of the puck. But still is able to kill off a little more time. Phil Tomacek, one of his specialties, his penalty killing. He is a brilliant penalty killer. Lackney puts it down low and gets it right back again on the wall. Elects to go up top for Oregon, who walks the line. Down low now, Lackney has Graham in front, can't get it to him, so he'll walk up top. Federley up top for Oregon, the wrist shot. Good block there by Tomacek, going down to sell the body. Cross ice pass, Tomacek getting right back to his feet, able to strip that puck. Clearing attempt held in at the blue line though by Oregon. He'll go to Federley, far side, back to Oregon in the middle of the ice. Down low, Lackney, waiting, shooting. Kerr the save, out to challenge. Lackney gets it right back with 19 seconds left to go on the kill. Lackney dropping it to Graham in the corner to Lackney in front. Hits the side of the net. Fooled the fans in behind the goal. Picked up by Bacon. Can't clear it out. Good pressure from the Prowlers. Here's Oregon to Johnson near side. He can't get the pass through. Bacon in the lane. Up top for Oregon. One-timer, he scores! Long shot from the blue line by Timothy Oregon. Gets past the glove side of Chris Kerr, and it's a 4-2 Prowler lead. Off the face-off, the Prowlers control. Chipped into the Sentinels and Pavlov after it has Anderson on his back. Felt the heat. Now Anderson in behind the net. Leaves it off to Bobby Price in the corner. Far side, Anderson has Price in the slot. There he is. What a save by Kerr! Oh, Chris Kerr, a huge slot right in the slot. Wide open was Bobby Price, the leading goal scorer for the Port Huron Prowlers, and Chris Kerr makes a huge save to keep it 4-2. Both teams trading goals here early in the third period. We'll step aside for a moment. You're watching Sentinels hockey on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
and his entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
The Prowlers have picked up their second power play goal of the game. Timothy Organ with his fourth goal of the season, his first in the last 5 games. And the Sentinels find themselves again down by 2. Zinchenko trying to change that, coming in over the line. His wrist shot was blocked. Unable to keep that in at the blue line, and Pavlov will come back to grab it at center ice. Good pass to find Tortorella open. Tortorella throwing it towards the net. Good block there by Brockway, getting in the lane. Now Bobby Price will settle things down for the Prowlers. Cleared out through the neutral zone and past Anderson. This one will go the length for icing. Take a quick look at the upcoming schedule for your Indiana Sentinels. They start a 3-game set against the Topeka Scarecrows, who are really struggling as of late. Sentinels might be catching them at the right time. 3-game set, 7:30 Friday and Saturday, 12:30 on Sunday. Then we see these Prowlers one last time back at the Ham. That's a 6:30 start on Thursday before we take on the Black Bears for 2. And you saw that last one against the Scarecrows as an asterisk next to it. That's our game out in Thief River Falls. We'll have 2 of them out in Minnesota, the neutral site game, as we get ready to welcome the Thief River Falls team next year. Inside the Prowler zone, Favaro will backhand this one through the neutral zone and down, tipped in by Heikala. He and Panovanov go barreling after it in behind the net. Pass out in front by Marty. Ends up getting taken away by Tomacek. He'll leave it for Terrain. His shot pass gets knocked away by Cooper and swiped out to center ice. Cleared out to the neutral zone. Tomacek is there. We'll leave it off for Blake Peavy. Nice move to get around Johnson. Peavy getting to the net. The backhand couldn't get too much on it. Knocked aside by Cooper. Johnson loses an edge. The spinning pass there from Bauer comes to the high slot, but swatted away by the Prowlers back through center. Here's Bauer. Has that pass blocked. Wrist shot here by Lockhart. Gets knocked aside. Now Bacon needs a little help from Tomacek to clear this out to the neutral zone. Hard wrap around there by Brockway, slowed down by Kerr as Colarusso and Anderson go colliding with one another. Anderson wants a piece of Colarusso. Anderson just lost his balance there as they collided. Finally, the puck comes back to Anderson. The wraparound, first save made, rebound. Curry able to get that one too. And he reels it in to hold on to it. And Anderson still wanting more of Richie Colarusso. Anderson dragging Colarusso to the ice. I don't know if I missed anything there, but that just looked like 2 bodies colliding in the corner, and Colarusso was able to hold his balance a little more than Anderson. Might have missed something behind the play there. And Anderson looks like might be getting the extra penalty. That's Anderson's 4th penalty of the game. Yeah, he's going to go for cross-checking. So with 12:07 left to go in the period, another Hawes Insurance power play coming up here for the Sentinels. Dawson wins that face-off to the wall. Picked off by Oregon, though. He'll move it in behind. Favaro there. He'll clear. Pavlov sets up in behind this net. He's with Tortorella on the back end. Zinchenko, Dawson, and Cunningham up front. Merrick Tortorella with some space through center ice, able to get into the offensive zone, protecting the puck and gets it in behind. His pass out towards the slot, hit Dawson. Dawson will take it right back. Zinchenko up at the blue line for Pavlov as a one-timer, broke his stick, has to get back and play defense without a stick, steps up on DeCumbus. And Tortorella, nice job to get back to help out. Dawson has to pull up here to make sure Cunningham can get back on side. He does exactly that. He'll wrap it around the wall. Pavlov now with the new stick. Nice job, Joey, our equipment manager. Tortorella, his cross-ice pass deflects off of the stick of Price, and he comes back the other way, Bobby Price. His wrist shot, Kerr getting just enough of that with the blocker. Pavlov there to settle it in behind his own net. 40 seconds left to go on this power play. Bormanis will wrap it around the wall. Waiting there is Tomacek. He takes a big hit. Trying to regain control of the puck. Pops free. Prowlers can't clear. Good job, Esposito, to get in the lane. He'll wrap it around the wall. Bormanis near side. Comes back down low for Lease. Lease has some space. Holding. Pass out in front. Save made. Rebound. Another save there by Cooper. What a stop by Reed Cooper. The first stop was made with his toe. The second one was able to extend just a little further to deny Ethan Esposito right in front of the net. Cooper with two huge stops. "19 seconds left to go on this power play. Peavy wins the draw. Out to the point, Panovanov. There's a snapshot from the wall there by Bradburn, trying to catch Cooper cheating, unable to do so. Peavy at the blue line, flipping this one towards the net, knocked down by Brockway. He'll clear just out to the neutral zone. So the Hawes Insurance power play goes by the wayside, but not without a couple really good chances there from the Sentinels. Ethan Esposito, the best one, robbed again by Reed Cooper. Here's Anderson just out of the box, has it knocked off his stick by Terrain. Blake Anderson spinning away from Bauer. Prowlers control on their own end. Favaro. Lead pass for Jamie Bussell. He'll dump it in. Bouncing around the wall. Bacon gets tied up. Peavy there to help. He'll grab it and flip it out through center ice. Dawson with that long reach trying to grab that puck. Two number 75s collide. Now comes to the near side. Here's a wrist shot from Marty that's kicked aside by Kerr. And then Marty gets his stick up high on Bacon. We get no call there. Kerr making another save. Marty picks up the puck. We'll walk it out to the blue line, leaving it to Oregon. He'll hold on to it, pass out in front. Good anticipation there from Chris Kerr, getting his stick in the lane and reading that pass. Here's Dawson through the neutral zone, pulls up just inside the blue line, leaving it to Esposito shooting. That was blocked. Rebound hits the side of the net. And Cooper, able to find that puck laying on the side of the goal, get a glove on that, not allow the Sentinels to hack at it anymore. Prowlers pick up a power play goal from Timothy Oregon to make it 4-2, but the Sentinels continue to pressure. We'll be back with more of the third period right after this. 4-2 Prowlers here on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
What's in your decision to donate blood? More than you know. One donation can save lives and fuel research to save many more. A few moments of your time sparks moments like these. And these. Hope cures, empowers, and strengthens us. Hope is in all the moments that matter. And it's in all of us. Versity Blood Centers. Hope. It's in our blood.
4-2 Prowlers here at McMorran Place. Andy Petzinger happy to bring you along. Sentinels still pushing. This game, in all reality, could be 6 or 7-4 in favor of the Sentinels, if not for a couple of brilliant stops from Reed Cooper. Zinchenko stood up at the blue line. He gets poked out to the neutral zone. Marek Tortorella trying to spin away from the check of Federley. He's able to get in over the blue line before he stopped up. Price got in his way. And the puck squeaks out back to center ice. Pavlov for the Sentinels. Will move it across Zinchenko. Cunningham leaving it for Tortorella. His cross-ice pass was intended for Pavlov at the blue line, but hit the pads of Graham. And all the way back to Sentinels territory. Look out here, a giveaway turnaround shot from Price, but he whiffed on it. Kurt gotten back to his net anyway. Now Anderson will cycle it in behind the net. Bobby Price there to grab it. Pavlov in his way. Tortorella there to help out and gain control of the puck. Diving plays, able to move it up ahead, and then gets taken down. It's going to be a penalty on the Port Huron Prowlers. So another Hawes Insurance power play coming here to the Sentinels. Going to be a tripping call, and Bobby Price, the one going to the box. 7:40 left to go in the third. Sentinels already with a power play goal in this period. Coming from Nolan Dawson, his 7th of the year, first since coming back from Finland. He's out there again. Gets kicked out from the face-off circle. Esposito will come in. Dawson pushes this in behind the net, wrapped around by the Prowlers. Held in, Bacon. There's going to be another penalty on the Prowlers. You want to just give them the puck. It's going to be a 5-on-3. Finally gets touched. Prowlers going to go back to the box. Another 5-on-3 for the Sentinels. This for 1 minute and 50 seconds. What an opportunity now for Indiana with 7.5 left to go in the third period. And you wonder if Everett Thompson might think about taking his time out here to try to rally the troops and get everyone on the same page. It's going to be Brockway going to the box for a high sticking. And here we go. Prowlers win the faceoff. Picked up here and cleared on the backhand by Brett Lockhart all the way down. Vlad Pavlov slowing down through the neutral zone, hits Bormanis in the skates as it goes in deep. Bormanis chasing after it, cleared out to the point. Pavlov keeps it in. Pavlov leaving it for Cunningham, back up top for Pavlov. Zinchenko at the far circle. Didn't have an option, so Pavlov will grab it back. Down low, his cross-ice pass intended for Dawson to flex. Dawson grabs it now, puts it back to Cunningham at the blue line. They play catch. Cunningham now tried a cross-ice pass for Bormanis, but he almost telegraphed that pass a little too much, and Lockhart was there to grab it, and he'll clear. Thrown up ahead for Zinchenko. Sentinels are changing. Zinchenko able to wait long enough for a couple guys to get off the ice. Leaving it up to Pavlov at the blue line. Has Bauer in front. Esposito down low. There's Espo. He'll move it up to Pavlov. Pavlov for Esposito. Has some space. Walks, shoots. That was blocked. Rebound to the side. Bauer denied. Oh, diving across was Cooper again. And Bauer robbed by the paddle of Reed Cooper. Good chance there for Indiana. Cunningham at the blue line. Had to pull up because Bauer, coming back from inside the zone, had to tag up. Inside the zone was all gummed up. Prowlers will clear it down. 10 seconds left to go on the first penalty to Bobby Price. Here's Peavy. He'll go across to Esposito. He'll gain entry to the zone. Esposito dropping it back to Bauer at the blue line. Brendan Bauer, D-to-D for Bacon, holding on to it. Goes down low for Lease. Lease trying to drag it toward the front of the net. Spins away from a check. 5-on-4 now we go. Jonas Lees dropping it to Bowers. Got some space to walk down. Bowers shooting one. Missed the target. Wraps around the wall and out to center ice. We're back to 5-on-5. This one goes into the Sentinel zone. Bobby Price in behind the net. Comes back up top for Favaro. Long wrister. Hits the glass. Wraps around the wall. Johnson just off the bench. Keeps the play alive. Pass out in front for Anderson. Bounces off the skates of Bacon and wide. Anderson regains control again. Leaving it for Johnson at the point. Playing Keshakumbis in front. Anderson well covered by Bacon, but Anderson still able to control the puck. Pass out in front. Kerr gets a stick on that, knocks it away. PV off to the races the other way. He'll dump it in as his team's going for the line change. Hits the stanchion in front. Colarusso backhand. Catches the glass. Bradburn a turnaround shot. Sails wide of the goal. Picked up by Johnson. Flips it high through the air and back to Sentinels territory. What a bounce that would have been for Indiana if Colarusso was able to tally. Bormanis far side. Has Tomacek heading to the net. Couldn't get it to him. Bouncing puck finds him in the corner. Tomacek has that one skip behind him. Only person there to grab it is Brockway. He can't clear though. Tomacek in the way of that. Oregon will send it around the wall. Federley there to hold on to it. 4 minutes left to play in the third period. Brockway pressure there from Tomacek. Nearly caught the puck up. There's in behind the net, Bormanis. Had to roll off the end of his stick. Clearing attempt. Dawson gets in the way of that. Sentinels are dogs right now on the forecheck, not allowing the Prowlers to clear it out of their own end. Finally, the Prowlers do. Esposito on the far wall. Unable to get far into the zone. Gets a little help there from Lease. Wrapped around the wall. Panovanov pinching in. Lets it go past him. Dawson at the blue line. Dawson tried to throw it back down low. Bouncing around. Panovanov in the high slot. Wrist shot was blocked. Comes back out. Bucel. Take it down by Panovanov. A penalty. Oh, unfortunate there. Panovanov just trying to battle for the puck. Took down Bucel. He'll sit down for 2 minutes. 3:12 on the clock. Sentinels have a Powerade penalty kill when we come back. It's 4-2 Prowlers on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
Vitamin water helps keep me hydrated. Encore. After encore. After encore. Next thing you know, it felt just like this. Come on. Vitamin water from New York.
Left to play in the third period. Prowlers lead it by 2. And the Sentinels back to the Powerade penalty kill. Face off going to the left-hand side of Chris Kerr, who has only given up 1 goal since coming in relief in the second period. Draw coming out to the point. Oregon keeps it alive. Gets it right back from Federley on the far wall. Now near side, Johnson looking to go down low. Terrain picks that one off. He'll backhand it all the way down. Jonas Lee's hard on the forecheck here. Don't be surprised if the Sentinels get very aggressive on this penalty kill, trying to pick up a short-handed goal. We are short on time here to try to pick up 2. Merrick Tortorella escapes from a couple of checks, killing off some time on the clock. Now finally the Prowlers get it out. Big hit! Oh, Bacon laid the boom on Lackney. Tortorella just trying to kill more time, leaving it for Pavlov. Up ahead for Bormanis. Through the neutral zone, holding on to it. He's got Tomacek with him. Bormanis trying to pin it up along the wall. It pops free, and finally the Prowlers will take control. Federley has it come back to him, or excuse me, Favaro has it come back to him. Backhanding it up the wall for Price. He chips it out to center. In the way of that is Pavlov. Inside the Prowlers' end, there's an empty net to our left. Everett Thompson getting very aggressive. This puck is intercepted. Anderson looking for the empty net that sails wide. Romeo Terrain spinning away from a check. Gets knocked down by Bobby Price. There to help out is Pavlov. Tomacek. He's double teamed in the corner. Pops free. Zinchenko there trying to clear it out. Caught up in the skates of Anderson. Can't put the puck on net though. There's Bucell. Good stick from Tomacek to knock it away. Anderson's tied up by Zinchenko legally. And, Pavlov unable to clear out to the blue line. Oregon, big save there by Terrain, leaning off to the left. Back to the blue line. Bucell, that's blocked. Another try off the post. Rebound to Lackney. He scores. Third time's a charm there for the Port Huron Prowlers. And with 1 minute and 5 seconds left to go in the third, it's now 5-2 Port Huron. With Lackney picking up goal number 12 on the season. .105 left to go on the clock, and that'll pretty much seal the deal. Brockway back in his own end. It's deflected back into the Sentinel zone. Kerr there to wrap it around the wall. Richie Colarusso up ahead for Bradburn. He comes out to center, will flip it through the ice. Was hoping to hit Cunningham, who was streaking down that far side, knocked away from him. Now Colarusso will control once more. Seth Bacon on the near side. He'll dump this one in. It goes off the linesman. Unable to get that puck in deep. Lockhart will control and put it up the wall. Pavlov there to control once more for Indiana, leaving it to Bauer. He drops it off just inside the zone for Cunningham. Didn't have a lot of space to do anything with it. It gets cleared out by Bobby Price. Price has it once more. Pass out in front. One last hack there from Graham. And the game finally comes to a close. So Port Huron with a 5-2 victory and a weekend sweep of the Sentinels. As we welcome you back to the Sentinels post-game show. Give you a recap of how this game went down. Started out in the first period, and like I'd mentioned before, in the first, there really wasn't much nastiness. It seemed like everything that needed to be settled from last weekend was settled, in last night's hockey game with the opening 3 fights. And in the first period, it was Port Huron getting on the board 3 times. The Sentinels starting out today's game with Matthias Smith in net. Smith spent his college career at University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. In his time there, 3-0-1 with a .88 goals against and a .951 save percentage. And Everett Thompson very impressed with him in practice, as John Werber had gone down with an injury, a lower body injury earlier this week. He was so impressed with him that he decided to give him the Saturday game today, and Smith kind of left out to dry in the first period. Alex Johnson picking up a rebound on the power play. He made a brilliant first save, did Smith, on Bobby Price in front. And then the rebound went right to Johnson, who had an open net to bat it home. That made it 1-0. A little over 3 minutes later, Jamie Bussell picking up goal number 8 on the season. That was on a redirected shot from Lockhart at the blue line. Lockhart, just a seeing eye shot, and Bussell timed it beautifully, cutting right through the middle of the ice, tipped it over the shoulder of Smith and into the back of the net to make it 2-0 Port Huron. And with 13 seconds left to play in the first period, Bobby Price, after a hard wrist shot just entering into the Sentinel zone, caught Smith up in the shoulder. He had lost sight of where the rebound had gone, and Bobby Price was there to clean up the garbage and put it home for his 19th goal of the season. That was 3-0 after the first period of play. The Sentinels really upped the ante, though, in the second period. A little bit of a flip from what we saw yesterday, where the Sentinels came out hot and then slowed down in the second. That's what happened here on the flip side. The Sentinels started out a little slow in the first and then really turned it on in the second period of play. They outshot the Prowlers 12-3 in that period, and they opened up the scoring with Christers Bormanis picking up a rebound from Maximus Merrick Tortorella, who started a rush from his own end, wheeled through the neutral zone, threw a shot on net. The rebound was a bit of a funky one from Cooper, which was not something that we had seen often today. Cooper left one out in the slot, and Bormanis was there to put it into a wide open net, his first in a Sentinel sweater, to make it 1-0, and that was it for the scoring in that period, but that was not it for the nastiness. After that goal, around the 10-minute mark, little after the 10-minute mark, Brendan Bauer threw a hit on Johnson just inside the Port Huron zone. Johnson's number was showing, a hit from behind. Clear as day, that was called, and the Prowlers did what most teams do. They went in to the aid of their player who got hit from behind. And usually that's that. That's where we call it the end. But on the very next shift, Dylan Marty coming out of the off the bench, and after Pavlov had moved the puck, a late high hit by Marty hit Pavlov up high, and that's really what kind of started a whole lot of nastiness. There was screaming between the Sentinels benches, between the coaching staff, Everett Thompson getting involved, as well with Cam Yarwood, his assistant coach, getting involved, screaming over at Chris Paulin and some of the players on the Prowlers bench, enough that Yarwood ended up getting ejected from the hockey game. And after all of that was said and done, we had a little bit more as Brockway, in his own end, threw a hit from behind on Cunningham, and once again, doing what you're supposed to do. Vlad Pavlov coming to the aid of his teammate who took a nasty hit. Ended up getting into a fight with Reggie Millette. And as guys were partnering off with one another, I mentioned it in the intermission, where there's a fight out on the ice, if you're not involved in that fight, you grab somebody on the other team and you partner up with them just so they don't jump in. And once the fight's over, you let go of that guy and you're all done. That's not what happened between Bormanis and Parsons. They paired up together, and Parsons pushed Bormanis up against the near corner inside the Prowler zone, pushed him up against the glass and pushed him off balance. And as all that was happening, Bormanis' helmet had come off. Bormanis goes down the ice, hits his head on the ice, splits him wide open. We've got blood all over the ice. And with that, it gave Parsons not only that 5-minute fighting major, but an extra 10 minutes of game misconduct for fighting after the original altercation. So Parsons is done and may face some supplementary discipline from the league afterwards. So we'll keep an eye on that. But good news for the Sentinels is that Bormanis did come back in the third period, got glued up in the locker room, and passed all of the neurological exams that the Port Huron trailer was able to put on him, and came back out for the third period. And the Sentinels in that third period of play started it out with 1 minute and 8 seconds on the 5-on-3 power play, which they were able to cash in on 38 seconds into that power play. Nolan Dawson, with his first goal since coming back from Finland, gets the Sentinels to within one. Dawson picking up his 7th goal of the year. Lees and Zinchenko on the assist there. Port Huron, though, would answer right back again. Timothy Organ at the very tail end of the power play. A lot of pressure from Port Huron. Kerr had to make a couple of huge saves, but Oregon left all alone up at the blue line. Was able to wind up and fire an absolute missile past Chris Kerr to pick up his 4th goal of the season, his first in the last 9 games. I said 5 games before. I apologize. I meant 9. To make it 4-2. And the Sentinels unable to cash in on quite a few power play opportunities in the 3rd period. They had 3 more power play opportunities to try to cut the deficit down. Were unable to get one past Reed Cooper, who was absolutely brilliant in net today, making 26 saves on 28 shots. And they've only got the Sentinels registered for 4 shots in the 3rd period. Port Huron had 15. Not sure about the legitimacy of that, but that's a problem for later. Sentinels unable to get one home on the power play. Port Huron gets one at the very end of the game with Ivan Panavanov taking a hooking call. They don't convert on that power play, but with the Sentinels needing to get some goals on the board, they pulled Chris Kerr. And the final goal of the game coming from Lucas Lackney. A couple chances for Port Huron to try to tie it. On the last chance, Lackney able to pick up a puck that went off the post and batted into a wide open goal to make it 5-2. So the Prowlers improved their record to 29-14-0-1. They now have 84 points, which is 2nd in the Empire Division. And the Sentinels will fall to 10-29-4-0, 32 points. That is 7th in the Empire Division. As I said, final shots 29-28 in favor of the Prowlers. Sentinels out shooting the Prowlers in the first 12-11, in the second 12-3, and somehow in the 3rd period they were outshot 15-4. The next game for your Indiana Sentinels, as they do come back home to the Hamilton Ice Arena. They take on the Topeka Scarecrows for a 3-game series starting on Friday night. Friday and Saturday will be a 7:30 p.m. puck drop. Jim will be there for that. I will not be there. I've got a prior commitment. I will unfortunately not make it that weekend, but Jim will be there to call the game for you guys Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday will be at 7:30, same as Saturday. Sunday will be a 12:30 p.m. puck drop, just like we saw the weekend, last weekend against Port Huron. So make sure to get your tickets for that to see the Sentinels take on the Topeka Scarecrows. And as I'd mentioned, Topeka really struggling as of late. They're able to eke out a victory yesterday against the Biloxi, Biloxi Breakers, doing 3 different things at once. They were able to eke out a victory over the Biloxi Breakers, but just barely. And right now, Topeka, with 69 points, are now tied with Blue Ridge, who got a victory today. Topeka now with their record sitting at 24-17-3 on the year. Blue Ridge has their record at 23-20-3. We hope you all enjoyed the broadcast. It was a bit of a crazy one today, but can't deny there was a lot of entertainment value to come along with the hockey game. It was a fun one to call, that is for sure. Big thanks, as always, to Ryan Furr Creative and the crew over there. Ryan Furr, Jordan Vickers, Thomas Voiles, Ethan Evans, and Christian Totten and company, all helping out put together the graphics and making everything look pretty for you all. It is a 5-2 victory for the Prowlers as they sweep the Sentinels in Port Huron. Sentinels will head back home today and prepare for Topeka next weekend. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all in a couple of weeks. So Andy Petzinger from Port Huron saying good night, and we'll see you next weekend. So long, everybody.